This is Newstalk ZB News.
Good morning. It's 8:30. I'm Nivareti Manu. The acting Prime Minister is astonished at Auckland Council's plans for its own Statue of Liberty. Mayor Phil Goff believes a proposed 50-metre statue to welcome visitors to Auckland could become as iconic as New York's Lady Liberty. The council's earmarked $1 million for the design and development, but Winston Peters told Mike Hosking he isn't convinced with the council's spending priorities.
Well, that's extraordinary. I would have thought that our obligation is to build 30, 40, 50,000 houses before we start putting a new monument on a hill.
Our road policing manager is praising police officers for abandoning more than half of the chases they begin. The total number of pursuits has risen 65% in the past 3 years, but police are abandoning 1 in 2. However, more people died in police pursuits last year than any year since 2010, and more than the last 3 years combined. Superintendent Steve Greeley told Mike Hosking, in an ideal world, police wouldn't have to chase anyone, but the reality is sometimes they have no choice.
When you think about the things that are killing our people on our roads, we've got restraints, we've got impairments, that's drugs, alcohol, fatigue, we've got excess speed, and we've got distractions. Those are the things that are killing people. So when we detect those things, we've got to intervene.
A man will appear in court today over the death of a Ngaruawahia man found dead in McLaren Falls. Michael Patterson was found dead in water below the McLaren Falls Bridge about 11:30 on Friday morning. James Lee Green has been charged with being an accessory after the fact to the murder of Patterson by helping dispose of his body in order for another man to avoid arrest. He also faces an additional charge of driving while disqualified in Cambridge on the same day. Court documents also name another man believed to be a party to murder who police may still be seeking. One person is in a serious condition and 12 others are injured after a lava bomb hit a tour boat in Hawaii. Hawaii County Fire Department says the lava punctured the boat's roof in Wailoa Harbour. 3 people were taken to hospital, while the remaining 9 passengers drove themselves to hospital with superficial injuries. The harbour is about an hour's boat ride away from where lava from Big Island's Kilauea volcano has been hitting the ocean. Donald Trump is burning bridges with his intelligence community as he tries to build bridges with Russia. The US president is rejecting any suggestion of Russian meddling in the 2016 election. He's come out of a one-on-one meeting with Vladimir Putin, instead casting doubt on the findings and intentions of his own intelligence agencies. And the BBC's Stuart Hughes told Mike Hosking intelligence officials are feeling betrayed and let down.
President Trump today may have made more of a friend in President Putin, but the question now we're asking is at what cost to relations with his own intelligence community?
New Zealand's been ranked 18th in a global list of soft power. This refers to our ability to influence and appeal to countries through political and cultural means, and our approach to foreign policy. This is opposed to hard power, which refers to military and economic strength. The index from UK think tank Portland says we're a small but ambitious country that punches above our weight. Our strongest asset is effective and efficient governance. There are no smaller countries ahead of us on the rankings, but we have fallen 2 places from 2 years ago. The top 4 are the UK, France, Germany and the US. I'm Nivareti Manu. That's Newstalk ZB News with Panasonic's new OLED TV range. True Black shows true colour.
To Newstalk ZB Sport, 4 members of the political punk band Pussy Riot have been charged with misdemeanours after invading the pitch in police uniform during the Football World Cup final in Moscow. The charges pertain to violating spectator rules and misusing the threads of a law enforcement officer. The group members face up to 15 days in jail. The members ran onto the field at Luzhniki Stadium in protest against the imprisonment of film director Oleg Sentsov, a critic of Russia's annexation of Ukraine's Crimea region. He was charged with plotting terrorist attacks in the area and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Will the only drivers golfers take to Carnoustie be chauffeurs when the opening round of the Open starts on Thursday morning? 2001 champion David Duval has suggested balls are rolling so far at the bone-dry links that it will drive some people batty, and he might use an iron at all times off the tee. Duval could not remember anything similar in more than 2 decades of playing the tournament. Golf with Crown forklifts for near new ex-lease forklifts. Just call Crown. Triathlon New Zealand are adamant their team selection processes are performance-based and nothing else. High-performance boss Mark Elliott's confirmed Andrea Hewitt was left out of the team relay at the latest World Champs event in Hamburg at her own request. He says Hewitt's battled illness and decided up-and-comer Ari Graham would perform better.
It was about ensuring that the team could put out the best performance, and she felt that for herself, she wasn't going to be 100%, and if she couldn't deliver 100% to the team, she felt that Ari would be a better option for us.
Elliott says Ryan Sissons was left out as they felt Taylor Reid and Sam Ward were the best two New Zealand athletes for the event. Sissons claims his exclusion was due to his decision to live and train outside New Zealand. And finally, opener Fakhar Zaman has struck 117 off 129 balls as Pakistan beat Zimbabwe by 9 wickets in their second one-day international at Bulawayo. He helped the visitors chase the hosts 194 in 36 overs. I'm Andrew Alderson. That's Newstalk ZB News and Sport to 25 minutes to 9. Leighton Smith is next.
Newstalk ZB Auckland. Time saver traffic.
Play more for less at the Warehouse Big Toy Month. Good morning. Now to train services. Expect delays and cancellations until 10 a.m. on the southern and eastern lines due to an emergency service incident. If you can update us further, 0800 jammed. The southern city-bound slow Drury through to Takanini again. Heavy from Ellerslie. The northern slow from Constellation. Northwestern slow from Rosebank. The Warehouse Big Toy Month is on now with the most toys in the nation.
Newstalk ZB Weather Watch 24/7 with My Greer Homes. Free spring package with all homes purchased in July. Manukau and Waitemata, Hauraki Gulf and Breamhead to Cape Colville. Westerly 10 to 15 knots, tending southwest 10 this afternoon, then easing to variable 5 this evening. Sea slight but choppy when wind opposes tide. Swell forecast east coast northerly 0.5 metre but northeast 1 to 1.5 metres today, and west coast southwest 2 metres. High tide at Auckland 20 to 11 this morning. Onehunga 6 minutes to 2 this afternoon. Today and tomorrow expect cloudy periods with a few showers. Ahead to Thursday, rain developing in the morning, then easing to isolated showers. Currently in Auckland, it's 10 degrees.
At 8:37, it's time for all the attitude, all the opinion, all the information, all the debate. Right now, on the Leighton Smith Show on Newstalk ZB.
Morning and welcome to the program. We're here till midday. Our number, if you'd like to join us, is 0800 80 1080. The email is leighton@newstalkzb.co.nz, and you can text on 9292. Now, there have been two subjects this morning. They got to fill the news up with something else, and they did. I don't know what, but the two main subjects were, of course, fleeing the police and the repercussions, and President Trump in Helsinki. Now, which one do you want me to start with? I don't care. Easy. Which? Trump. Trump's got the popular vote. So it's very easy. What we've been hearing this morning from this radio station, I have to say, is not reflective of reality. What we've been seeing on television news, what we read in the paper, what they've been saying, we get our news from the mainstream in the States. And we report what they report, essentially, because there's no local analysis, not of any worth anyway. So let me attempt to rectify it. There was, to give you an example of where I'm at and where I'm coming from, there is a story from the Washington Post. It simply goes like this. The reporter concerned from, names don't matter, the reporter concerned from the Washington Post picked up on something that he heard Trump say. It was actually a tweet. And he messaged the leader of He messaged of Finland. And he said it was great to spend some time with him, enjoyed spending some time with him at NATO. So the reporter from the Washington Post immediately went berserk. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't even know who he's talking to. This is the interpretation. Doesn't even know who he's talking to. The guy's mad. Finland's not a member of NATO. And so it was picked up by the New York Times. It was picked up by everybody else. Christiane Amanpour from CNN. They're all running around repeating the tweet. It happens that the Prime Minister of Finland was at NATO as a guest and there are pictures of him with Trump. He was at the dinner. What I'm explaining here as best I can is the stupidity of the media, their reporting, the urgency to dump on Trump at any possible chance they get, and they never bother to check and find out whether or not what he said is correct. So this guy is an idiot. The Washington Post is a dumb newspaper, mainstream media, biased beyond belief, same as the New York Times, same as CNN. So they all had to eat dirt. Now, did I say that with a bit of anger? No, not really. Just emphasis. Because it's only one story of a number. What I'm trying to convey, and I'll say it again, is the way things are being reported misrepresents most of the time what the reality is. And I don't think that any of you, even those who hate Trump, even those who hate me, who are listening, are going to argue with that. Because it's true. It's the way that it is. Now, I want to quote you something else that runs a parallel. I mentioned many times that Andrew McCarthy, known as Andy McCarthy, who was a federal prosecutor, he prosecuted, just to repeat it all, he prosecuted in the first Twin Towers attempted bombing, and won his case and sent the blind sheik to jail for ever and a year. And he's extremely good. He's actually brilliant. A very good lawyer, very good prosecutor, very good commentator. He wrote this that's published this morning. He said, if the idea, talking about the politicized indictment by Mueller of the 12 Russian intelligence officers, politicized, on the Friday, right before the weekend, when on the Monday Trump was meeting with Putin. It was patently obvious to anyone who understands things that this was aimed solely at upsetting the summit. So Andy McCarthy wrote the following. If the idea was to give Vladimir Putin and his thug regime, he doesn't like Putin, he's not that wild about Trump. That thug regime, a new way to sabotage the United States, nice work. So is Russia now presumed innocent of hacking the 2016 election? If not, it's difficult to understand any proper purpose served by Special Counsel Robert Mueller's indictment of 12 military officers in the Kremlin's intelligence services for doing what everybody in America already knew they did and has known since before Donald Trump took office, indeed before the 2016 election. This all took place before Trump was in office. Now, there are numerous factual stories about this coming to light and it being shut down by the White House. Any investigation shut down by the White House, the Obama White House. Why? Because they knew that Hillary was going to win. They knew that Hillary was going to win, and they didn't want anything interfering with that win, with anybody else being able to say, oh, well, it was rigged or was interfered with. And so the inquiry, when it was drawn to attention, was shut down. Again, I say that names don't matter, but somebody in the administration wanted to know what to do about it, and was told in no uncertain terms to pull the plug, do nothing. So come back to the summit this morning, and the way that it's been reported. What did Trump say? Well, we all heard what he said. The part that a lot of people have latched onto was the way that he has supposedly sided with Vladimir Putin over his own intelligence services. Do you really need reminding anybody that the intelligence services are doing their utmost to get rid of Trump? Look at what's been going on in the FBI. Look at what's been going on in the Justice Department. And as for John Brennan, who was the Obama head of the CIA, that guy is, I can't say it politely. Let me just go back and remind you that he voted for the communist presidential candidate in the US, the communist candidate, when he was younger. However, he got to the head of the CIA is beyond belief. But he is now a commentator, a paid commentator for CNN. and he hates Trump, along with the rest. That the gang that's involved in trying to out Trump is so incredibly determined to do so, and will stop at nothing to do so, for the simple reason that they didn't expect him to win. They expected Hillary to win, and every string that they pulled in her favour, of which there were many, would have gone unnoticed and never been uncovered. They could be facing charges, any number of them, as time goes by. 14 to 9, numbers 0800 80 1080. Where was I wrong?
Rugby World Cup Japan 2019. We invite you to our information evening on Thursday, July the 19th. Some of our tour hosts, including Wayne Smith and Andy Dalton, will be discussing Japan and our rugby tours. The food, transport, sites, culture, and of course, rugby. This is an invitation-only event. Please phone Holland Clark and Beats and Travel to receive your free ticket to the show. Call 0508 30 40 50 or visit hcbtravel.co.nz.
Hi, Terry.
G'day, Chris. What are you doing out here?
On my daily walk, mate. That's the grandkids over there.
But you live in the city. This beach is a fair way out.
Nah, it's pretty much handy, really. Got the new beach house. That's the one right over there.
You run your company from the beach?
Sold it through Barker Business Brokers. Got a superb return. And now I'm enjoying the return on all the old hard work.
Barker Business Brokers, eh?
Yep. Life's the beach, Terry.
Barker Business. Give them a call. Might be just the thing you need. Licensed REAA 2008.
Always read the label and take as directed. Sleep Drops Auckland.
Are you losing the plot, yelling at the kids, lost your mojo, or actually worrying you're losing your marbles? The bad news is you might be. The good news is you might just need a little help from Daytime Revive, Sleep Drop's all-round awesome daytime energy support remedy. It simultaneously picks you up and calms you down. We think it's so cool we're going to give it to you free with every 30 ml Sleep Drops for adults in House 2000s and pharmacies across New Zealand for a limited time.
For over 70 years, Metropolitan Rentals have been helping Aucklanders to achieve their goals. For those who want to shift, lift or dump something, Metropolitan Rentals has a range of box trucks, tip trucks and high-ab trucks. For those who need to go places, Metropolitan Rentals has plenty of minibuses as well. And for those who've always dreamed of being a truckie or a bus driver, well, you know who to call. Get it done at metropolitan.co.nz.
Metropolitan Rentals.
News talks about it's 12 to 9, numbers 0800 80 1080, but still there is more. There's any number of, shall we say, misdirected commentaries that are taking place. You can argue that the president should, when he's in a position like this, should join forces with whoever in his own country and put up a united front. Trump doesn't play by the rules. It's one of the reasons he got elected. When the security forces of the country are trying to undermine him at every turn, why should he? Why would he? What is there to gain? Except if he stood up there and said to Putin, and he's supposed to do this, by the way, you're a liar. We know you're a liar. You're a filthy, rotten, Russian liar. And turn his back and walk off. Is that what he's supposed to do? And where does that get you? The other thing they don't know, of course, is what took place behind closed doors. And any suggestion that Trump is soft on Putin and would have been soft on him and would have been railroaded by him is just dummy stuff. The same as he was as behind the closed doors of NATO and with Theresa May. Oh, I got a beautiful letter to Theresa May that I've got to read you this morning. Anyway, that behind closed doors he went soft? No. How can you say that somebody who won the pre-selection for the Republican Party, fighting 16 other candidates, with the media against him, with everybody against him, except his developing base, how could you say that he's a softie and he get railroaded? I mean, it's just a dumb thing to say. But the whole aspect of this is an intriguing one. You can say that, as I said, or started to say, you can say that he should sort of join forces and put up a united front. And what would be the result of that? What would be the result of that in the media? Trump praises security forces, praises FBI, CIA, the very people who are trying to uproot him. It's a beautiful situation if you like politics and you like geopolitics and you like the whole world stage. It is like something we've never seen before. But there's another aspect to it that I think we should keep in mind, and that is that when you say that we've never seen it before, it's because things got done quietly in the past. But he's such a rude, bumptious idiot, isn't he? Do you know how many rude, bumptious idiots, how many liars, how many cheats there were in his position and other positions in the past? But without the technology of today, without the social media and everything else, and nobody ever found out. Go back to John F. Kennedy. Go back to Teddy Kennedy. Teddy Kennedy went to, I was going to say with John F. Kennedy, go back to all his affairs, the women in his life and what have you. Never got out because the media hushed it up. And there was no social media to expose anything. Teddy Kennedy went to he went, I think, from memory. He went to Moscow, had a meeting with Andropov. I think he went. If he didn't go, he sent somebody on his behalf, or it could have even been both, to Andropov, and asked for Andropov's help to help get rid of Reagan. Asked for a Soviet Russian communist leader's help to get rid of Reagan. Get the drift? I mean, this is laughable, what's going on. Now, I haven't seen it, but I understand that Putin, when he was asked the question, have you got any evidence on Trump or his family of things that they did wrong, or moral issues, or whatever it was? And Putin started to giggle, I gather, started to laugh. Couldn't believe the inanity of the question. As if he did, he'd be spouting it out to a bunch of American media. 7 to 9, numbers 0800 80 1080.
Newstalk ZB Auckland. Time saver train.
Join the One News team tonight for One News at 6. Good morning. Now to train services. Expect delays and cancellations right up until 10 a.m. on the southern and eastern lines due to an emergency service incident. If you can update us further, 0800 jammed. The northern slow from Northcote, the southern city-bound slow Drury through to Takanini. Moderate heavy from Mount Wellington, northwestern slow from Rosebank. For today's news, sport and weather, join the One News team tonight at 6.
Get the key to your new BMW with Continental Cars BMW exclusive offers. Drive away in a new BMW 320i Shadow Edition from just $185 per week, or the sporty 125i M Sport for just $190 per week. Take advantage of our X5 run-out offers, including the X5 30D M Sport for $993 per month. All vehicles are packed with features and high spec. Take advantage of these limited time offers at Continental Cars BMW Takapuna. Finance terms and conditions apply.
One family struggled to control the temperature in their home. In winter,
it's like a freezer in here.
In summer,
the house is like a sauna.
So they invested in 3M Thinsulate window film. Their house became cozier and warmer in winter and cooler in summer. 3M Thinsulate window film, a revolutionary new climate control window film that helps regulate the temperature of your home by providing a layer of nearly invisible insulation. Stay comfortable inside no matter what's happening outside. Google 3M Thinsulate window film to find a licensed installer.
Want a career that doesn't feel like work? Yeah, you do. So head to UDo, New Zealand's newest career platform, powered by NZME. Knowing what career path to take starts with knowing yourself. With the UDo personality test, you can learn what makes you tick and what sets you apart. Perfect for finding your fit. Take the UDo personality test and search for your next job at udo.co.nz.
Are you avoiding applying for a home loan because your situation isn't quite straightforward? Mike Piero's been shaping home loans for over 25 years and can help you find a loan that really suits your needs. Best of all, it won't cost you anything for us to help you. Visit mikepiro.co.nz or call 0800 500 123. Lending criteria apply.
It's 5 to 9. News Talks a B from Jason. Thank you, Leighton. The media on the left are starting to drive me mad. I only like Fox News now. None of our news at all. I still flick over to them when I hear some of the crap that excites me. To hear some of the crap that excites me. If I was Trump, I would probably also believe Putin before the FBI. Leighton, you are not wrong. Can someone tell me and provide evidence of what crimes exactly the Russians committed in the 2016 election? How can they say the Russians or anyone else for that matter infiltrated the Democrat server when no one has got the opportunity to inspect said server? As for spying, doesn't everybody do it? Five Eyes is not a knitting group. Let me just comment on that point about the Democrats server. You'd be familiar with it. When the Democrat server got hacked, the FBI went along and wanted to have a look at it, inspect it. And they were declined. They weren't allowed to do it. Why not, for heaven's sake? So off the back of that, I don't know whether anybody else ran through, I didn't read it in detail, but I scanned the whole thing. The 12 charges. I scanned the whole lot. It got a bit tedious. From beginning to end. And I thought, they haven't seen the Democrat server. How do they know the Russians did it? How do they know that all these people, now somebody who's involved with technology would be nice enough to ring and tell us all, I'd be delighted. How do they know this? How can they track all that when there are other things locally that they can't do? Why do they need to see the Democrat server? Surely, if they're as good as they claim that they are, they can investigate the Democrat server from without. They don't have access to the servers and to the systems in Russia that the 12 accused of were utilising. I think it's fascinating. It's all very interesting. What else I got? Correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's on Bastion Point. But there are others. The crazy left-wing fake media outrage on the summit is laughable. And our dumb media like, I'm not going to name them because I'm too close to them.
See top culinary talent like Chelsea Winter and Nadia Lim spice up the kitchen live in the Neff Cooking Theatre at the Food Show. Head along from the 26th to 29th of July to ASB Showgrounds. Grab your tickets now from foodshow.co.nz.
City Nissan are offering 1.9% finance and zero deposit across the range of new Nissan vehicles, plus $2,500 off the retail price of new Qashqai and X-Trail. Test drive a new high-spec Nissan today at City Nissan Takapuna, 159 Wairaa Road. Finance terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Steve here from Ian Hunt Flooring. We know you're feeling the cold, so we're ready to install winter warming carpet in your home now. Select your favourite carpet today and you can be as snug as a bug in 10 days. Visit Ian Hunt Flooring, Mount Wellington and Albany.
Ian Hunt Flooring.
Have you enjoyed your $40 credit at BP with American Express? Spend $60 or more and get $20 back up to 2 times until 24 July. Terms and conditions apply. See amex.co.nz/BP.
G'day, Bill Wilson. With the Tribe.
Hi. Whether you call yourselves a tribe, a clan or a crew, Pinnacle Life Insurance helps the people who matter to you stay tight. Even if you go unexpectedly. Do it right now. Just go online to pinnaclelife.co.nz and in 10 minutes you could have a Pinnacle Life insurance policy to read through and buy online. And that's the Tribe taken care of. Pinnacle Life. Let's the Tribe live on.
Here's a tip from Property Apprentice.
Should you buy a home first or a rental? The answer is yes. Which one depends on your situation.
For more information, register for a free 2-hour training event. Text ticket to 268 or go to propertyapprentice.co.nz.
Come on in for our renovation frenzy. Get 50% off Ledlux LED pendants. Get up to 30% off Bluetooth lighting. And up to 30% off luxury chandeliers. Think lighting? Think Lighting Direct.
Whether you're into hiking, biking or triking, scuba diving or Irish jiving, tramping, camping or luxury glamping, breakfast tea or Tai Chi, whether you're into running a store or like to draw, jogging, logging, vlogging, beekeeper or something deeper, extreme sports, fresh imports, into tennis or is your name Dennis? Whatever you're into, start owning it with a personalised plate. There's over 1 million to choose from, so call us now on 0800 650 111 or visit kiwiplates.co.nz. Kiwi Plates, whatever you're into, own it. In Auckland on
Hosking, Devlin, Hawkesby, Lush. All the names you can trust. This is Newstalk ZB News.
It's 9 o'clock. I'm Nivareti Manu. There are questions being raised about how logical we can expect young people to be when fleeing police. New figures show there were more than 10 pursuits a day last year, up from 6 a day in 2014. That's up 65% in 3 years. AUT's senior criminology lecturer John Buttle told Kate Hawkesby pursuits can make young and inexperienced drivers even more erratic. He says this can often make the situation more dangerous than it already is.
In some cases, I would imagine these are very, very young people, and I think if the police turn up with blaring sirens, they're gonna run out of a certain level of fear.
Donald Trump is heading home into a furious storm of controversy after he suggested he trusts Vladimir Putin more than his own intelligence services. US intelligence agencies believe Russian hackers and propaganda experts intervened in the 2016 election in which Trump beat Democrat Hillary Clinton. But the president has today told reporters that while he has great confidence in his intelligence people, President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial. He was speaking after their summit in Helsinki. His comments are being strongly criticised by a long list of American political figures, including many from his own party. John Brennan, the former CIA director under Barack Obama, has tweeted that what Trump has said rises to the level of high crimes and misdemeanours. Sky's diplomatic editor, Dominic Waghorn.
He says that President Trump is guilty of treason in what he said because he's taken sides with Vladimir Putin, the Russian leader, and dumped on America's intelligence community.
Meanwhile, a 29-year-old Russian woman living in Washington has been arrested and charged with conspiracy to act as an agent of the Russian government. The FBI claims Maria Butina worked with 2 unnamed US citizens and a Russian official to try to influence American politics and infiltrate a pro-gun rights organization. She arranged dinners in Washington and New York City and is accused of trying to develop relationships with American politicians to establish back-channel lines of communication. Her aim, according to the charges, was to penetrate the US national decision-making apparatus to advance the agenda of the Russian Federation. Her Facebook page shows that she attended events sponsored by the National Rifle Association. A blessing's being held near the treacherous rocks at Muriwai Beach, where a West Auckland couple was swept to their deaths yesterday. Around 40 people gathered in the chilly morning for a karakia for the former Myanmar refugees. The couple's youngest children, aged 7, 9 and 13, were on the fishing trip with their parents when first their father slipped into the surging sea, followed by their mother when she tried to help him. Muriwai Surf Life-Saving convener Dirk Vanderwoord says the rocks are notoriously dangerous as huge waves can unexpectedly crash over them.
The power in those waves is extraordinary. I've experienced it myself firsthand.
A Lower Hutt artist has won a prestigious drawing prize with an artwork that uses neither pencil nor paper. Jackie Colley has won this year's Parkin Drawing Prize for her piece Long Echo. She used tools to engrave a depiction of Canterbury from above on a sheet of aluminium. Head judge Kelsey Taratoa says the work isn't what people conventionally think a drawing is. He says it won because it's intriguing. Newstalk ZB Sport. The Crusaders are in examination mode this week as they prepare for their Super Rugby quarter-final against the Sharks. The sides haven't met since March 2016 due to the changing formats of competition. Centre Jack Goodhue says it's different coming up against the Sharks compared with someone like the Highlanders, who they can play up to 3 times a year.
They're a bit of a mystery. No doubt our coaches have done their review on them, or preview, sorry. But, they're in the same boat as us. We're unfamiliar to them.
Super Rugby with Property Ventures, real estate agents with investors ready to buy. Usain could be going insane in the A-League this season. Under the headline Reggae League, Sydney's Daily Telegraph reports Usain Bolt is headed to the Central Coast Mariners, where he'll undertake a 6-week trial that could lead to him signing. The Mariners collected the wooden spoon last season. The 8-time Olympic gold medalist's stated ambition is to play for Manchester United, and he is featured in a host of celebrity matches. Football coverage with BritanniaOnline.com, bringing you football and UK pension transfer results. Adam Scott is bringing caddy Fanny Sunison out of retirement as he attempts to lift the claret jug at the Open this week at Carnoustie. Sunison became the first female caddy to help a golfer win a men's major when she looped for Nick Faldo in 4 of his 6 major championships during the 1990s. She retired in 2012 due to injury when helping compatriot Henrik Stenson. Scott's held at least a share of the final round lead during the 2012, 2013 and 15 editions of the Open. Serena Williams has climbed 153 places to 28th in the world tennis rankings after finishing runner-up at Wimbledon. It was her 4th tournament since giving birth to her daughter 10 months ago. Champion Angelique Kerber moved up 6 places to number 4, with French Open winner Simona Halep remaining number 1. Niva Reti-Manu, Newstalk ZB News and Sport with Wet and Forget. Remember, it works, you don't. It's 9:05. Leighton Smith is moments away.
Newstalk ZB Auckland. Time saver traffic.
Thinking about heat pumps? Think it Toshiba. Good morning. Now to train services. Expect delays and cancellations until 10 a.m. on the southern and eastern lines due to an emergency service incident. The northern slow from Esmond, the southern city bound slow Drury through to Takanini, moderate heavy Alice through to Green Lane, and the northwestern is heavy coming in from Great North Road. Think Toshiba, the heat pump the experts choose. Ivanka Zonich for time saver traffic.
Newstalk ZB Weather Watch 24/7 with My Career Homes. Free Cement package with all homes purchased in July. Monaco and Waitemata, Hodaki Gulf and Breamhead to Cape Colville. Westerly 10 to 15 knots, tending southwest 10 this afternoon, then easing to variable 5 in the evening. Sea slight but choppy when wind opposes tide. High tide at Auckland 20 to 11 this morning. Onehunga 6 minutes to 2 this afternoon. Today in Auckland, cloudy periods and a few showers. Tomorrow, much the same, cloudy with showers. Ahead to Thursday, rain developing in the morning, then easing to isolated showers. And Friday, mainly fine weather. Today's high, 16 degrees. Currently in Auckland, it's 11. Here at Newstalk ZB.
Prove a point. Prove them wrong. All right. Call 0800 80 1080 now. It's the Leighton Smith Show on Newstalk ZB.
0800 80 1080. Email is leighton@newstalkzb.co.nz and you can text on 9292. Stuff story from the Fairfax media, which is a repeat of Washington Post, I believe, with AP. So a combination of Washington Post and Associated Press. Trump's news conference suggests Putin has something on him. They've been laying that claim for ever. It's just nonsense. The top 2 Democrat lawmakers have suggested, of course they have, that U.S. President Donald Trump's performance during a joint news conference with Russian President Putin signaled that Russia has damaging information on the U.S. leader. The two were among a number of lawmakers, both Democrat and Republicans, who joined with the head of U.S. intelligence and former CIA leader, that being, what's his name, John Clapper. Not John Clapper, Brennan. John Brennan. Concluded a remarkable news conference in Helsinki where the president appeared to back Putin over his own intelligence agencies over Russian meddling in the 2016 presidential election. Can I remind those of you who don't agree so far that President Obama, when asked about meddling, when he was still in office, said there is no way on this planet that the Russians can affect the outcome of the election. Said at a news conference. No way that they can, that there is no way that it can happen. Not going to happen, hasn't happened, won't happen, can't happen. Obama. Meanwhile, he knew that what has been exposed at this particular point was going on. And I repeat what I said before the news. The White House shut down any inquiry into what was going on. They didn't want to know about it. They didn't want it to interrupt their candidate's run in the election. They didn't want to feed the Republicans with any information that they could then use and throw back at them. Why is that not important in this? I mean, it's extraordinary. What Trump has been saying publicly, I would ask those of you who disagree with my approach and other approaches, isn't it better that these leaders talk? Isn't it better than sniping at each other? Isn't it better than letting other people run the show? Isn't it better that they meet, talk face to face? For all the telecasting we can do now and all the conferencing we can do online, you know, using the internet and everything, people still get on planes and fly to the other side of the world for a meeting. Why? Because you cannot beat being in the zone, being with the person, looking into their eyes, shaking their hand, and picking up all the nuances that you simply can't do when you're teleconferencing. And yet all there is criticism from the left. Anything that can be utilised by the left to dump on Trump and to try and crash and burn him will be used. And that includes the left-wing media, who work hand in hand with the Democrats. 0800 80 1080, it's 11 after 9. Dennis, good morning.
Oh, g'day, Leighton. This whole business is, you've hit the nail on the head with a lot of what you said this morning. But when you think about Trump and his remark about when he invited the Russians publicly in front of the entire world, because that's the only way he can get his actual words out as he says them, and he invited them to see if they could find Hillary's emails. The media treated that as though that was an honest and real invitation, whereas in fact what it was, clear to anybody who wanted to open their brain, what it was sarcasm, because what he was saying was, well, you know, how is it that the Russians can find all this stuff, but our people can't? Now, to me, that identifies his belief that the intelligence services are being dishonest, and I've thought that for a long time. I sort of watch and I'm interested in politics 8 hours a day, because that's what I do, and I've been watching all this all the way through. And to me, it seems to come back to some fairly simple things, and one of them is, you know, you have to ask the question, why is it that the entire American space program right now relies on Russian technology to put men in space? Because the Americans aren't doing it, the Russians are doing it. So why are the Russians so untrustworthy if they are given that kind of access to American technology? It's all bullshit, it seems to me. It seems to me that what's going on here is the politics. The politics aren't the reality anymore. The politics are what they want people to believe. And the thing about all of this is that the American military-industrial establishment, they absolutely need an enemy that they want to have as an enemy. And so Putin and Russia makes a very helpful enemy, which means that they can demand a big military budget. Their military budget of the United States is 10 times the size of the military budget of Russia. Anybody can look it up.
All right. So your take then on this on the bun fight that's on at the moment?
Well, Trump is he's the thorn in their side, because, as you say, and everybody knows, everybody believed that Hillary was going to win, and that's because everything about the election was crafted that way. You know, it was so obvious right up until the very last minute. And so all of these people have got a great big pack of cards stacked up on Hillary winning, and that pack of cards is likely to come down at any time. And the idea that Trump, why would Trump, if he must know that if he's in power, obviously, I want his intelligence community, who he can't entirely trust, know what goes on between two leaders, because what we're talking about is the leader of two different gangs. Basically, what Putin says goes, and to some extent what Trump says goes. And so they need to, and Trump said long before the election that why can't we be friendly with Russia? You know, they are friendly with Russia in the sense that they've got a combined space program, which is the height of technology. So what's going on here is complex. It seems to me to be very complex. I can't completely figure it out, that's for sure, and I watch it all the time.
Well,
but what I do know is that the media are complicit in all this, and the media, and that includes our media and our two main television channels, are completely and absolutely biased about everything they say.
Well, the reason that you're saying that, and the reason that I take the attitude that I do, is where do they get their feeds from? And the answer is from the mainstream media in the States, and the mainstream media is untrustworthy.
Well, why can't our media show a bit of integrity and try and look beyond? You know, there's 50% of people in America voted for Donald Trump. That's just a fact. Why can't our media go, well, that's interesting, I wonder why they did that? It's really simple stuff.
No, hold it. It's wrong to say that 50% of the people who voted for Trump. More people voted for Hillary in the overall. Trump won, as it works in America, on the college thing.
Electoral college. That's how it works here.
What do you mean?
Well, we've had elections.
Well, you're actually quite right. It does work here that way. I mean, we've got a government in power at the moment that's made up of a bunch of losers.
Absolutely. And so, but the whole thing is really about left and right, and rather than there's no common sense in any of that. The left cannot see or allow the right to do anything right, and the right, who tend to be conservative, and conservative means they sort of button their lip a fair bit, but okay, they can't agree. They can't agree on any level, and they need to. And one of the reasons they can't agree on any level is because our media are completely and absolutely favouring one side.
There you go.
No question.
All right. I don't disagree with you. Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah,
the media are favouring one side by default, although I've got to say that most of the media here lean left, and most of them endorse what the mainstream media is saying. To take a more objective view of it would require a bit of effort, and probably a bit of swallowing of rats on the part of some people.
For one sneaky peek at next door's valuation, oneroof.co.nz. Buying, selling, all things property.
You've made it, but where do you go now? When you're on top of the world, there's Harbourside Ocean Bar Grill. Stop and soak in your accomplishments as you look out at the harbour from Auckland's best covered deck. Enjoy fresh, modern, award-winning dining from the most extensive seafood menu in Auckland. Business or pleasure, you'll know you've made it when you make it to your ultimate seafood and entertainment destination, Harbourside Ocean Bar Grill. There's nowhere else. The historic ferry building, 99 Key Street.
It's unpredictable, uncontrollable and incredibly misunderstood. With the support of New Zealand On Air, Prime presents a new series about Kiwis with Tourette syndrome navigating work, school and family life. Living with Tourette's. Sundays, 8:30 p.m. on Prime.
Hi, Raymond here, World Moving and Storage. So, your friends have moved to Sweden with some Muppets, and stuff's busted. Booty, 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 booty. They should have used World Moving and Storage at worldmoving.co.nz.
World Moving and Storage.
0800 4WORLD.
Are you working in a real estate shop? When we get walk-ins, we love to show off. Our massive floor is state-of-the-art breakout zones and meeting rooms everywhere. Even a TARDIS. The auctioneer is in-house, advertising is written for you, and the backup is unbelievable. A bit lost? Do your sales staff work against each other? You need to talk to City Sales. If you can imagine there's a better way. Martin Dunn, 3030 601.
Citysales.co.nz.
Licensed real estate agent. Always read the label and take as directed. Sleep Drops Auckland.
Are you losing the plot, yelling at the kids, lost your mojo, or actually worrying you're losing your marbles? The bad news is you might be. The good news is you might just need a little help from Daytime Revive, Sleep Drop's all-round awesome daytime energy support remedy. It simultaneously picks you up and calms you down. We think it's so cool we're going to give it to you free with every 30 ml Sleep Drops for adults in Health 2000s and pharmacies across New Zealand for a limited time.
For the first time in 18 years, we're building 3 brand new townhouses here at Knightsbridge Village, and one of them could be yours. Imagine living in a brand new, architecturally designed luxury home within our established community. These beautiful new homes will be ready for you to move in this spring, so don't miss out. Call Laura now on 0800 774 635 to find out more about this rare opportunity at Knightsbridge Village on the North Shore.
When you want answers, Newstalk ZB has them.
Political correctness. I've never been politically correct, and you know that very well.
Why are we being governed so politically correctly?
Well, you aren't being.
You're in bed with a government that doesn't. Time to change the sheets.
Mayor Phil Goff describes it as having the potential to be an iconic symbol for Auckland. How many iconic symbols does Auckland need?
It shows a lack of fear of cops generally. That's to be worried about.
We're a police service these days, not a force.
Start here with the names you know and trust on Newstalk ZB.
0800 80 1080. Alan, morning. Geez, I hope, Alan, you want to disagree with me.
Oh, I do.
Good.
Very strongly. If I could just ask you a question to start with. If I said that you exhibit Trump-like qualities, would you take that as a compliment or an insult?
If you said what? That I exhibited?
Yeah, that you exhibit Trump-like qualities, would you take that as an insult or a compliment?
My question immediately would be what qualities? In what way do you mean? Because he has both good and bad.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly straightforward question. Because I think
the question's straightforward, but the interpretation's not.
Oh, okay. If you don't want to answer that, perhaps
it's not that I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to answer it. I don't know in what way you mean it.
Well, let's say some of his good qualities you exhibit, because I personally can't see many good qualities about Trump at all. Anyway, perhaps if I rephrased another one, Trump has often said that the free press are the enemy of the people. Would you agree with that?
No, he doesn't say the free press. He says the media.
All right. Well, would you agree with that the media are the enemy of the people?
I understand why he says it, and
I'm asking you.
And hang on, settle down. I understand why he says it, and I endorse part of it.
So, if we look at some of the things that you said this morning, where you seem to denigrate a lot of what you call the left-leaning press, the CIA, the FBI, all these layers, they're all wrong and Trump is right. That's the impression that I got from your opening comments this morning.
Well, maybe you got the gist of it without understanding it completely. Why would you trust the security services, which is what they're being referred to as, why would you trust them when they were working in concert, the DOJ, the FBI, Brennan, who was head of the CIA, when they are working to undermine Trump, not just undermine him, destroy him? Why would you trust them?
Well, I tend to look at an organization like the FBI or the CIA as having many, 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 many layers of seniority. Mm-hmm. And I would take their word over Trump's word any day of the week, and indeed over your word any day of the week.
But it's not that you have to take their word over my word or Trump's word. It's a matter of knowing what's been going on at the highest level.
So you do. You know what's going on at the highest level, do you?
Well, my only question to you is, why the hell don't you?
Well, why twist it back on me? I'm asking
because,
you. You're the person who's got the platform. Don't you?
You've got a platform. You've got a platform at the moment, so we're having a discussion. And you asked me a question, and I express surprise that you don't know.
So I can
now,
ask
can I suggest to you, and then, in fact, I'm happy for you to hang on if you want, and we'll come back. But I'd suggest to you that the left wing and that's a term that's used in generalisation, but I'll stick with it, that the left-wing media is what you're getting where you're getting your information. Therefore, you're coming up short with full detail.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing that I really gets up my nose at times when people refer to it as the left-wing media. You know, you don't say, the right-wing media, and you don't denigrate them. In your voice, all I hear is the left-wing media.
But the left-wing media is making the headlines. They're the ones running the show. Alan, I'd love you to stay on, if you can. Come back shortly.
Rugby World Cup Japan 2019. We invite you to our information evening on Thursday, July the 19th. Some of our tour hosts, including Wayne Smith and Andy Dalton, will be discussing Japan and our rugby tours. The food, transport, sites, culture, and of course, rugby. This is an invitation-only event. Please phone Holland Clark and Beatson Travel to receive your free ticket to the show. Call 0508 30 40 50 or visit hcbtravel.co.nz.
Hi, Terry.
G'day, Chris. What are you doing out here?
On my daily walk, mate. That's the grandkids over there.
But you live in the city. This beach is a fair way out.
Nah, it's pretty much handy, really. The new beach house, that's that one right over there.
You run your company from the beach?
Sold it through Barker Business Brokers. Got a superb return. And now I'm enjoying the return on all the old hard work.
Barker Business Brokers, eh?
Yep. Life's the beach, Terry.
Barker Business. Give them a call. Might be just the thing you need. Licensed REAA 2008.
Always read the label and take as directed. Sleep Drops Auckland.
Are you losing the plot, yelling at the kids, lost your mojo, or actually worrying you're losing your marbles? The bad news is you might be. The good news is you might just need a little help from Daytime Revive, Sleep Drop's all-round awesome daytime energy support remedy. It simultaneously picks you up and calms you down. We think it's so cool we're going to give it to you free with every 30 ml Sleep Drops for adults in House 2000s and pharmacies across New Zealand for a limited time.
For over 70 years, Metropolitan Rentals have been helping Aucklanders to achieve their goals. For those who want to shift, lift or dump something, Metropolitan Rentals has a range of box trucks, tip trucks and high-ab trucks. For those who need to go places, Metropolitan Rentals has plenty of minibuses as well. And for those who've always dreamed of being a truckie or a bus driver, well, you know who to call. Get it done at metropolitan.co.nz.
Metropolitan Rentals.
Why is living at Mayfair Retirement Village so appealing? We asked some of our residents.
This place had the buzz that I wanted.
I think the thing about Mayfair is that it's really like a little suburb. It's just got a very pleasant feeling. To me, it's a village. No, it's a little community.
Retirement your way at Mayfair. Come to their open day. Tomorrow, 10 till 1. Mayfair Retirement Village, Otiha Valley Road, North Cross, or view online, arenaliving.nz.
Newstalk's about 28 past 9. Ellen will be back after news heads in a couple of minutes, and I look forward to it. On another note, simply for a change, a momentary change of matter, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Bastion Point privately owned by Maryland? If taxpayers pay for a monument on private property, can the owners of that property turn around and say at any time and refuse or restrict access at will or ask for kohar? The answer is, I suppose, probably yes. This, the Bastion Point thing with ratepayer money going into it is just the most absurd thing. And I heard the breakfast host this morning making comment with regard to Shane Jones, and that's why he's popular. I think it was him. Or was it before that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think it was him. And the answer is yes. Well, when I say popular, I mean he comes and goes, a bit like Winston. You know, just as you're beginning to despise him, he says something or comes up with some idea that makes you put the brakes on.
Newstalk ZB Auckland. Time saver traffic.
Sky City Theatre sing-along movies these school holidays. Good morning now to train services. Expect delays and cancellations up until 10 o'clock on the eastern and southern lines. Looking at the southern motorway city-bound, it is heavy Papakura through to Takanini, moderate to heavy from Ellerslie through to Green Lane. Northwestern, a little bit slow coming in from Great North Road. Sing along to Frozen, Moana, Beauty and the Beast these holidays at Sky City Theatre.
When it comes to getting new curtains or blinds, leave it to the experts. Auckland Drape Company has expert in-home consultants who work with you, your decor and your budget. And this month there's up to 30% off fabrics by James Dunn. Windows, it's first in, best dressed. Call for your free in-home consultation today and an expert will come to you. Auckland Drape Company, 379 5599.
It's a fact. As men age, our testosterone levels drop, and this affects pretty much everything we do in life. If your energy levels aren't what they used to be, especially in the bedroom, then Herbal Ignite for Men could be just what you need. This 100% natural New Zealand-made supplement has put the passion back into thousands of relationships. Harden up and make the call. Herbal Ignite for Men by Intensa Auckland is available online, or call 0800 44 66 39 now. That's 0800 44 66 39. Read the label and take as directed.
Building wealth takes time that not everyone wants to wait for. That's okay. There are plenty of get-rich-quick schemes out there for them. Thing is, that's not us, because getting rich quick often comes with a lose-it-just-as-quick part as well. For over 30 years here at JMI Wealth, we've been helping grow our clients' wealth with investment portfolios that stand the test of time. So if you're in the market for a discreet, proven performer to help you create long-term wealth, call our office for a chat. A quiet one, of course. JMI Wealth. Investing for generations.
Let House of Travel take you to the island of Tasmania. From stunning vistas of the eastern beaches to remote wild landscapes in the west, this bucket list destination will leave you spellbound. Feel exhilarated on the cliff tops of the Three Capes walking track. Indulge in seasonal paddock-to-plate dining and drop into a cellar door. Our experiences start from $1099 per person sheer twin from Auckland, including flights, accommodation and car hire. Conditions apply. Now's the time to explore the island of Tasmania with House of Travel. The best holidays are created together.
Newstalk ZB headlines.
With Blue Bubble taxis, it's no trouble with Blue Bubble. A 17-year-old Kiwi teen held at an adult detention centre in Melbourne for months has been freed following criticism by New Zealand's government. The West Auckland Burmese couple who drowned yesterday while fishing loved the activity and spent a lot of time at Muriwai. Donald Trump is heading home into a furious storm of controversy after he suggested he trusts Vladimir Putin more than his own intelligence services. Meanwhile, Winston Peters says it pays to be careful when backing US intelligence services because they've been wrong in the past. Questions being raised about how logical we can expect young people to be when fleeing police. Scientists say we have had to rethink what they know about Antarctica after large pieces of seaweed drifted 20,000 kilometres to reach the thawing continent. Why National Leader Simon Bridges is, go to nzherald.co.nz, back to Leighton Smith.
It is 27 to 10 from Paul. Trump on Russia. Perhaps today is a good day to start. So how to explain Trump's extraordinarily dismal performance with Vladimir Putin in Helsinki today? Is he trying to play good cop to his administration's otherwise bad cop? After all, Trump's actual policies toward Russia, from defence spending, stepping up missile defence and troop deployment in Eastern Europe, to energy, to browbeating NATO to spend more on defence, to killing Russian mercenaries in Syria, etc., are much tougher and pose much more adversity for Russia than Obama's policies or anything Hillary Clinton might have done. So, Alan, pick it up again.
Yep. Oh, hi. Where to start then? I rang you, or I only rang you once before, and that would have been right back at the beginning of the elections of the presidency when we were discussing the 16 candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at the time you said you weren't necessarily a fan of Trump, but you were completely opposed to Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, unfortunately, the candidate is Donald Trump, though, and I described him as the boy president because I thought that he exhibited all the qualities that we don't want to see in a presidency. Perhaps if I ask you another question, if you had 5 words to describe Trump, how would you describe him?
Oh, heaven's sake. Why 5 words?
Oh, I don't know, make it 3. I don't know. I just while I was waiting for you, I just jotted down, my opinion of Trump, and you can tell that I just dislike the man. Well, I think he's a narcissist, he's juvenile, he's divisive, he's a bully, and he's embarrassing. But I seem to get the whole lot of sort of apologistic.
Then why is it then that his popularity has been, and still is at the moment as far as I'm aware, is higher than either Obama's or Reagan's at this point of the pregnancy of the presidency. Now, it was only 1 point higher, but nevertheless it was higher. Why if you're right with your attitude, is he not slumping down in the 20s as George Bush did, W. Bush did for a considerable amount of his presidency? Now Bush was a polite person. He fell into line. He didn't upset anybody. He had the benefit of 9/11. Politically, it was a benefit, and yet still he found himself wallowing. Why?
I don't know. You go with polls. Polls can go up and go down about different issues. I'm just talking about, the millions of people that are coming out in the streets. When you look at the hundreds of thousands of people throughout Europe and throughout Britain.
They did that. But hang on. Do you know they did? No, it's not. They did the same thing for Reagan.
Mm.
And look what Reagan achieved.
Mm.
No, to give you an idea of what I think of Trump, I've passed over his personal foibles because in the greater scheme of things, in the end, history will ignore them, depending on his legacy. His legacy will be based on his achievements and the achievements of his policies. At this point of time, he's had enormous, but you don't read this in the mainstream media. He's had enormous success in making progress.
In what way?
Economically, legally, he's probably the one. There were two things probably that stood out that helped him win. One was his approach to the Supreme Court, which is terribly important, albeit that it shouldn't be as important as it is, but it is. And the other is to do with immigration. Both of those things were front and centre of his policies and were what caused a hell of a lot of people to vote for him, over and above anything else.
Oh, I'm sure he's a master manipulator, but particularly with immigration, and immigration is always a touchstone one. But
But hang on, we shouldn't even say immigration. We should say illegal immigration.
Oh yeah, I agreed with you there. But I think one of the turning points of the election was the release of from Comey about the emails of Hillary Clinton at a crucial time, just after the Hollywood tapes were exposed, showing what some of Donald Trump's real qualities are all about.
Trump didn't say all that much. There was one comment that he made, which was in the scheme of things was vulgar in the public arena. Whether you think it's look, can I liken it to something else? And you can say that this doesn't fit. It's wrong. But what you do with your wife in your bedroom is your business. Whatever it is you get up to. But if you do it publicly, it's another story altogether. It's a similar thing of a private conversation that no one knew was being recorded with a bit of banter. Now, you can say that the banter's vulgar. In the public space it is, but that sort of banter goes on all the time, everywhere.
Yeah, but, we're talking about the leader of the free world, and we hope that he does exhibit some rather more mature and moralistic behaviour. But when he says, I can walk into dressing rooms when they're naked, I can kiss them when they don't want to, I can grab them by the genitals, ha, 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 ha. And then since then he sleeps with porn stars and he has affairs. And we looked upon this man as, as someone to look up
all right,
to.
Okay, I wouldn't... Tell me something. Why, and he's far from perfect, but aren't we all? Why would the media expose these aspects of his personality and makeup when they hid exactly the same sorts of things that, and even worse, that the Kennedys, all three of them, got up to along with Lyndon Johnson and countless other politicians.
Oh, exactly. I mean, a lot of them are hypocrites. But we're talking about the current president, and I think
I grant you. Listen, I grant you that, but it's been going on forever. It's the introduction of social media has a great deal to do with what you find out now and what gets exposed. All I'm saying is that the media itself is responsible for. Pardon me. Hang on. The media itself is responsible for exposing all of that and putting the vulgarity out there. Why aren't they held responsible for doing something that they never did before because they protected the people that they endorsed and that they liked and exposed the individual that they didn't like? Why?
I think the media was a lot more controlled in those days, and I think with the element of social media now, it is very, very difficult to keep things undercover. And I'll be very interested to see if his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, starts to spout a few things. Because at one stage he said, I'd take a bullet for the president. I'm a supporter. Now that he's been arrested, and he's beginning to say, maybe my family comes first. So maybe we'll just wait and see if there's some more revelations about Donald Trump's past.
Well, tell me something in finality. Mm-hmm. Like the left-wing American media, or the left-wing media everywhere, including here, I could name you names here of people who detest him and will. Anyway, do you wake up every morning hoping today's the day that Trump gets his comeuppance?
I don't think I wake up every morning thinking about Donald Trump, but I just do find him embarrassing. I've watched him so many times in recent times on CNN, on Fox News, when he's in front of his rallies. And to me, he's just juvenile. He just spouts a whole lot of cliches. His vocabulary ranges from great to tremendous to nice to sad to bad. All right.
I'm being badgered because I'm way over my due break. But which would you rather have? Would you rather have Trump as he is, or would you rather have a far left socialist?
Well, I don't like a far left socialist, but I'd...
Well, Bernie Sanders is a far left socialist. He's a Marxist.
I know, but I mean...
And he would have won. He would have won.
I don't agree with either in totality, but Bernie Sanders comes across as a far more human being than Donald Trump does to me anyway. Donald Trump just doesn't do anything for me at all.
It's been a pleasant discussion. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you,
Newstalk ZB 17 to 10.
Mouth-watering marinated pork simmered in pepper sauce with ginger and garlic beautifully come together in Chinese Sichuan pork.
And at Zed, we put it in a pie. Try the Sichuan pork pie. Just $4.99 this week only at Zed Express. While stocks last, T's and C's apply.
Is your jewellery fully insured? If your old valuations are not up to scratch and scumbags steal it, you may not be fully covered. Take it to GemLab, New Zealand's most independent jewellery valuers. Take your old valuations with you, tell them Graham Bell sent you, and get 30% off the new reports. Get maximum protection for your jewellery with GemLab. Call 0800 GemLab or visit 42 Constellation Drive, Mairangi Bay.
Why is living at Mayfair Retirement Village so appealing? We asked some of our residents.
The quietness is wonderful, security good, the fellowship amazing.
And I have to say, my friends cannot get over the difference in me since I've been here. I'm so much more relaxed, and I smile a lot and I laugh a lot.
Retirement your way at Mayfair. Come to their open day. Tomorrow, 10 till 1. Mayfair Retirement Village, Otaha Valley Road, North Cross. Or view online, arenaliving.nz.
With Yui, there are 40 ways to save on insurance. Take Bruce's home insurance. Is the home occupied day and night?
Yes. See, I'm retired.
There's no additional excess for natural disasters.
Are the grandkids one?
No. But if they damage multiple insured risks in one insured event, you only pay the one excess.
Oh, good enough.
Plus a 15% discount when you buy your insurance online. Why not see how many of the 40 ways apply to you? With Yui, you could save lots. Just go to yui.co.nz and get a quote online. Underwriting T's and C's apply.
My family feels better with Health 2000.
Don't let unbalanced gut bacteria ruin your day. Reach for Lighthouse Probiotics 75 billion, one a day. Save $10 at Health 2000.
Day at New World. Fresh NZ lamb shoulder chops are only $12.99 a kilo. 2 packs of Dole Bobby bananas are $5. And shop with a reusable bag to be in to win thousands of prizes. This week only at New World. Sizes, limits and exclusions may apply.
Think you know better? Call Leighton on 0800 80 1080. The Leighton Smith Show on Newstalk ZB.
0800 80 1080. Quick email. Stand by. Quick email. Referring to the news here. I'm being diplomatic about this, John. Forgive me. Referring to the news here, the headline, Trump trusts Putin more than his own intelligent people, is simply wrong. He never said that or implied that. He simply said he saw no reason for Russia to interfere. I've got to be honest with you and tell you I don't understand that line. I just don't understand that line. But I think that's the only thing that I'm aware that he said that I just don't get. And Putin was strong in his rebuttal. Trump never said anything about who he trusted or didn't. No, whatever your opinion is, you've got to remember, and this is what Alan and I didn't get back to, and I wish we had. You've got to remember that the FBI, the Department of Justice, Rosenstein, Mueller, their whole raison d'etre is to get rid of Trump. That's it. That's what they live and breathe for. They're the institutions that Trump's being challenged by that want his defence. Jeez. There are, and as Alan said, there are lots of levels of responsibility in the FBI. But it's the top level, the very top level that runs the show that's been corrupt as hell. Murray, morning.
That was a long wait, Leighton.
Well, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Alan, your previous caller. He's like a lot of people out there, particularly in New Zealand, who exhibit a blind trust in our New Zealand media, particularly the two lockstep TV channels, for whom I worked for a number of years. And I just could no longer work for them. But some of the things that Alan said, like embarrassing and his limited vocabulary, I mean, to be totally honest, as a Trump supporter, I'd have to admit the guy is embarrassing with some of his, just his personality is a little bit embarrassing. It's a bit unbecoming of a president. But surely, like you actually alluded to, a president is going to be judged on his results. And so far, his results are right out of the top, right through the roof. Also, people who rely on mainstream media, who I assume Alan would be one, they exhibit an incredible ignorance, and I use the term, and ignorance could be either a deliberate ignoring of the balance of truth, or just simply being unaware. But stuff like Benghazi, the Iwan brothers and their control of democratic servers, the Democrat server itself, the FISA warrants and the so-called PP-Gate dossier, and Peter Strzok, these people, they none of them seem to know much about these things. And the reason that they wouldn't know about the texture of all this stuff, this undercurrent, is they rely on, if they're in New Zealand, they rely on TV1 or TV3. If they're in America, or CNN is the main contributor to the foreign input of
CNN, if I can interrupt. CNN is in an invidious position. Its ratings are incredibly low. Incredibly low. They've destroyed themselves. However, you know why they get their credit and their credibility? And by the way, also, They are number one on the online news of the online news services.
Number one?
Number one. Online news services for, hits, for, access. They get their credibility, such as it is, by having a mortgage on all the international airports in the world. All the airports in the world, pretty much.
Yeah, they pay for it.
You won't find... I don't think I've ever been in a main part of an airport where there's ever been anything other than CNN.
Well, I read a great story a couple of months ago about a setting in a doctor's waiting room, and the TV was going. Well, the TV was off, and they said, can we turn the TV channel on? And somebody piped up, yes, as long as it's not CNN, and everybody cracked up. CNN are very, they're very low ranking, like you say, and they're less than half of what Fox are.
Oh, no. There's way less than half.
Yeah.
And it's I haven't seen the very latest stats, but they're very, very low.
And the polls on trust of the media in America are, I think, below 30% now, and dropping.
Yeah. All right, I got to take a break, but I appreciate you hanging on. Thanks, Murray. Newstalk's a B, it's 8 to 10.
Get to Bali in style with Flight Centre and Emirates. Fly direct to Bali from just $899 return. Plus, add on 7 nights 4-star accommodation from an incredible $399. Conditions apply. Call 0800 888 748.
Flight Centre.
Hi, Steve Hilson from Winger Alfa Romeo. The new Alfa Romeo Stelvio SUV is here and available to drive away today from only $82,990 at Winger Alfa Romeo, 21 Great South Road, Newmarket.
I'd pick Mum to go shopping with.
I would pick Dad to play footy with.
I'd pick our puppy to cuddle.
I'd pick jumping in mud puddles over picking flowers.
And I'd pick Fruit World over anyone else.
Why's that?
Because Fruit World picks fruit for you.
Fruit World, fresh makes the world go round.
The Neurological Foundation presents Brain Day Auckland, the amazing brain, research, community and care on Saturday 21st July. Hear from New Zealand's top neurologists, neuroscientists and clinicians on topics including dementia, traumatic brain injury and the future of brains and machines. Learn about this complex topic and the ways it can affect our daily lives. To find out more about Brain Day Auckland, go to brainweek.co.nz for more details.
Anne-Marie here from Gilbert's Cartage. When moving, there are many questions, like how long will it take to pack my home? Just ask us.
Move house with Gilbert's Cottage. Phone 0800 60 30 20.
Roll up, save up to $200. Just switch to Contact's Promise Plan and get $50 off your power bills twice a year until July 2020. Plus, you could get a discount of up to 24% every month. Visit contact.co.nz to find out more. T's and C's apply.
Is your bank making life difficult? Do you have a sound property development but can't fund it? Have you bought a house but you haven't sold yours yet? Do you want to buy a business or consolidate some debts? If you have 25% equity in your property, I can probably help you. I'm Ian Woods of Ian Woods Mortgages. Getting the money you need is what I do. I can give you an indication immediately after our first discussion. Call me now on 021 82 82 40 or visit ianwoodsmortgages.co.nz.
News talks about 6 to 10. John, morning.
Morning, Leighton. How are you?
Very good.
I'm sorry about my voice. I'm home in bed and with the flu. I just want to say a few words to Alan. Alan, I'm assuming that you're an intelligent man, and I get a little bit disappointed with people in your calibre that are intelligent, well-spoken and so forth. But you've got to realise, Alan, that the swamp is huge. And I'm not just meaning the swamp in Washington, D.C. I'm talking about the swamp in New Zealand, Australia, the EU, everywhere in the Western world. It's huge. And the reason why they hate Trump is because he's doing things that's rocking the boat. And he's doing it by telling the truth. And a lot of the people who survive on the swamp don't like that because it could damage them. And that's the right-wing press, the left-wing press, Democrats, some people in the Democrats, some people in the Senate that are Democrats, and Republicans. They're all tarred with the same brush, Alan. I know you're an intelligent man. You should read a lot more, listen a lot more, think for yourself a lot more. The swamp is huge. And one of the leaders of the swamp, people like George Soros, who pay for agitators right around the world, they are the open border people who want cheap labour. They want Mexicans coming into America, North America and Canada. They want cheap labour from North Africa, places like Afghanistan and Syria to come into the factories in Europe because it's cheap labour. But what happens there, Alan, is it brings in the wrong sort of people, the wrong calibre. And supposedly you're the person who wants the right calibre. They can pronounce the nouns and vowels properly, not like people like me who struggle with the vowels and the nouns. You know, but that's all I've got to say, Alan. I get disappointed with people like Alan.
Well, Alan, no, don't be disappointed. Don't be disappointed.
I'm not.
I mean, you know, Alan said his bit. We had a good discussion, and I enjoyed it, to be honest. There are plenty of people who feel like Alan does. I think that they are... No, I don't want to say it. No, I better say it because otherwise I'll get misinterpreted. I just think it's a lack of information or lack of full information. But don't forget that you can have all the information in the world and still come to a different conclusion. It is, it's 3 to 10. I want to zap to the computer because if I can squeeze them in, there's 2 emails that deserve to go back to back. I just printed them. This guy's been writing to me a bit lately, but here's what he says. Leighton, the Kennedys and such are ancient history. Stop trying to deflect from Trump the traitor. The media certainly exposed Clinton. The Bushes and Obama had nothing to hide. You are such a dinosaur. Glad you're leaving. Your silly views and endless commercial breaks bring on a less biased host. Dear Dave, I'm going to let Lorna reply to you. My father was correct. Most people are thick. Apart from you, Leighton, Donald Trump is the most clever and intelligent person I've ever heard in my entire life. We were shocked, though, Leighton, that you did not like Trump before the election. You really shocked us. And I can honestly say that we knew Trump would win.
He's astounded audiences all over the world. And now, Dynamo is bringing his magic to New Zealand for the very first time. Dynamo Live, Seeing is Believing, comes to Auckland, Christchurch and Wellington this July. Final matinee show just announced, Sunday, July 29 at Spark Arena, Auckland. Special family tickets from just $74 on sale now through Ticketmaster. Be quick before they disappear.
Newstalk ZB Extra.
Don't get her off. Mate, somebody tell somebody. No, it's not the right tune. No, she got the whole melody's wrong, mate. Hayden, tell her. Dim the sound, mate. Take the lights out. Do something. Start what?
That was a Newstalk ZB Extra.
I believe in taking care of myself.
IE Produce.
And my family.
Organic and specialty foods. IE Produce is passionate about good food, healthy living, and making the right choices. From organic fruit and vegetables, to wheat and gluten-free options, to beauty products, to in-store workshops on nutrition and food.
I love it.
IE Produce. Number 1 Barry's Point Road, Takapuna, or shop online at ieproduce.com.
With Pinnacle Life Insurance, your family can hold on to the special bond that keeps you together and tight, even when you're gone. Do it right now. Go to pinnaclelife.co.nz and in just 10 minutes, life insurance sorted. Online. Pinnacle Life.
Turner's Cars Midwinter Meltdown. Hundreds of cars with over 500,000 slashed. Check out the discounts at turners.co.nz and book a test drive. Sale ends 23rd of July. Turner's Cars. A better way to buy and sell.
Fun starts at Whitcoulls these school holidays. Buy one, get one half price on all kids' books, toys, games and puzzles. Refresh your desk with selected stationery. Now buy one, get one half price. And enjoy a great read with 20% off Jones Picks. Great deals on now at Whitcoulls.
In Auckland on 89.4, this is Newstalk ZB. From the Newstalk ZB News Centre, this is Newstalk ZB News.
It's 10 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Malcolm Jordan. Stern warning to Russian President Vladimir Putin about meddling in American elections. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says it will be seen by Russia as a sign of weakness and create far more problems than it solves. Trump told reporters while he has great confidence in his intelligence people, President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial of any meddling. Our acting Prime Minister Winston Peters is also being cautious. He told Mike Hosking it pays to be careful when backing US intelligence services because they've been wrong in the past.
You recall the second Iraqi conflict where the American political system backed their security services information, which was gross misinformation, and the consequences we're still paying for now.
A 17-year-old Kiwi teen held at an adult detention centre in Melbourne for months has been freed following criticism by New Zealand's government. The teen has been held at the Melbourne Immigration Transit Accommodation Facility since March, awaiting a deportation hearing this month. He was being held over what's reported as non-violent offending. MFAT has released a statement confirming he's been released. He's understood to be returning to family in Sydney. The decision comes after acting Prime Minister Winston Peters accused Australia of breaching UN conventions on children's rights by holding the boy with adults. The West Auckland Burmese couple who drowned yesterday while fishing loved the activity and spent a lot of time at Muriwai. 40 people, including the couple's 9 children, friends from the Buddhist temple in New Lynn, tangata whenua and lifeguards were at a memorial service at the site this morning. Herald reporter Michael Nielsen says the eldest daughter and the 2 children who were with their parents when they drowned spoke at the blessing services. He says surf lifesavers say the spot where the pair were swept off rocks is particularly dangerous, even when seas aren't big.
Potentially, if they had fished only 10 metres to the left or right of where they would have been much closer to some sort of stairs that they could have potentially helped climb out of the turbulent seas.
Safety officials say they're gaining traction and creating cultural change in the forestry industry despite yet another death. A forestry worker died in an accident near Nelson yesterday. It's the 4th forestry fatality this year. Director for the Forestry Industry Safety Council, Fiona Ewing, says the ripple effect of a death is massive for the family, workmates and wider community.
People will be gutted that this has happened. There kind of used to be an attitude in years gone by that, that's just what happened in forestry. And now that's not the case. Now these fatalities are taken very hard.
House prices around the country continue to rise, hitting record levels in June. Figures released by the Real Estate Institute of New Zealand show the average price for a house is now $560,000. Fears Antarctica could soon change forever. Scientists have always believed Antarctica was isolated from the rest of the world until huge bits of seaweed washed up. Research by a team from the University of Otago found the kelp had drifted 20,000 kilometres from the Kerguelen Islands to reach Antarctica. Professor John Waters says it's made them rethink what they know about Antarctica.
We think things do make it to Antarctica probably all the time, but it's just so cold there that they haven't really established. But now it's warming up. There's a good chance that these things that arrive in Antarctica are going to be able to establish in the near future.
Newstalk ZB Sport, Ari Savia hopes his team and his injury allow him to play some part in the Hurricanes Super Rugby playoff campaign. The loose forward hasn't played since injuring his ankle in the final All Blacks test against France last month. He won't line up for the Canes this week against the Chiefs, but he says if they win, he may be a shot at playing next week.
Well, slight chance. I don't know what the physios and that will say, but in my mind, I'm hoping I can be back next week.
Super Rugby with Property Ventures, real estate agents with investors ready to buy. Ryan Sissons has dropped to 4th in the New Zealand men's triathlon ranks when it comes to mixed team relay. Triathlon New Zealand high-performance boss Mark Elliott says Hayden Wild will join Taylor Reid in the men's entries in the team's race at the next World Champs event in Edmonton. Sam Ward, who raced with the team in Hamburg, will be the backup. Elliott says Wild deserves his spot.
He's very, very strong bike-wise. He's been swimming well, and he's certainly been running well. So we've selected him to come in and race fresh, so he's not racing the day before.
Sissons claims he has been overlooked because he no longer trains in New Zealand. High-powered groupings for golfers Ryan Fox and Michael Hendry at the British Open starting on Thursday night at Carnoustie. Fox will be alongside former PGA Championship winners Keegan Bradley and Jason Duffner when he starts early Friday morning New Zealand time. Michael Hendry tees off at 11:20 p.m. Thursday night alongside former world number 1 Lee Westwood and American Kelly Craft. Pakistan bowler Hassan Ali has been cleared of serious injury after being forced out of the rest of the second one-day series against Zimbabwe following a wicket-taking celebration gone wrong. Ali cleaned up Zimbabwe batsman Ryan Murray with a perfect Yorker before unleashing his trademark boom celebration. He quickly fell to his knees, holding his neck, and while he returned to the bowling attack, looked in pain for the rest of the 9-wicket win in Bulawayo. I'm Malcolm Jordan. That's Newstalk ZB News and Sport with Wet and Forget. Remember, it works. You don't. It's 10:06. Leighton Smith is moments away.
Newstalk ZB Auckland. Time saver traffic.
SBS Bank rates you can't ignore. Good morning. Now the Southern Motorway city-bound slow Papakura through to Takanini, moderate heavy Penrose through to Green Lane. No delays on the northern, northwestern or the southwestern. Scenic Drive in Titirangi remains closed between Shore Road and West Coast Road. Expected to remain closed for pretty much all day. 4.19% home loan, 1 year fixed. Conditions apply. Contact SBS today.
Newstalk ZB Weather Watch 24/7 with Mike Rea Homes. Free SMEG package with all homes purchased in July. For the Manukau and Waitemata Harbours, Hauraki Gulf, Bream Head to Cape Colville, westerly 10 to 15 knots, tending southwest of 10 this afternoon, then easing to variable 5 this evening. Sea slight, but choppy when the wind opposes tide. High tide for Auckland is 20 to 11 this morning. So coming up this hour, and for Onehunga, it's 6 minutes to 2 this afternoon. Today for Auckland, it'll be cloudy. There will be some showers, a westerly high 16, low 9 tonight. Tomorrow, much the same. More cloud showers, westerly high 15. Thursday, rain developing in the morning, then easing to isolated showers in the afternoon. Again, a westerly and 15, and mainly fine on Friday. Right now in Auckland City, 14 degrees. Newstalk ZB.
Call 0800 80 1080 to talk back on the Leighton Smith Show. Newstalk ZB.
Email is leighton@newstalkzb.co.nz, and you can text on 9292. Reply to Dave, whose email I read before the news. Dave is a typical socialist. He believes he should be able to listen all day and for it to be funded by the taxpayer and not have his entitlement interrupted by advertising, which pays for it in the real world and not the bloody wonderland he so obviously lives in. Well, not my words, but I thank the author. The battle goes on, I suppose you might say, and there is, you know, I don't think this was my line originally. I picked it up somewhere, don't remember where, but the line is, there is a war on for your mind. There is a war on for our minds, and it's never in my lifetime been so intense. But it's taken on it's a different battleground. It's not just political, it's social. It's all the things that affect our lives now, including and especially political correctness and all its tangents. But there is certainly a war on for our minds, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm fighting it for myself. You can join in or not. I want to quote you momentarily from the book that I read from the very beginning a few weeks ago when it arrived, The Spy Who Changed History. Now, the reason I want to quote this a little bit, it's nothing revelationary. It's just a reminder that this has been going on forever. You know, the invasion of technology into our lives and the invasion of technology by foreign nations and spies and things is no different to what's been going on different platforms. So the Spy Who Changed History, among the many surprises and revelations in this book are the identification of a number of new Soviet spies on previously unknown operations. The findings established that significant penetration of the US started a decade earlier than many previously believed. In addition, the involvement of major US figures in Soviet espionage began far sooner than has been made public before, with, for example, Earl Browder and Nathan Silvermaster active many years earlier than previously thought. Women play a strong and full role in these early intelligence operations out in the field. In a profession dominated by men, these women are not playing the traditional support roles of honey traps, such as Matahari. Ray, otherwise known as Razor Bennett, and Gertrude Clivens are refreshingly young, modern women who from an early age knew their own minds. We're privileged to hear their voices through their own words. Both were no shrinking violets, but followed their own independent paths of life. Razor Bennett had to juggle the responsibilities of being a Soviet military intelligence officer on a dangerous mission abroad, while also mother to a young child. Gertrude Clivens had plenty of opinions and plenty of men, all the while training the future top spies how to be American. Of historical significance is the story of military intelligence officer Mikhail Chernyavsky. At the time, his assassination plot attracted the close attention of intelligence services and political elite. Only 2 pieces of intelligence were ever underlined by the NKVD, and one was the revelation from a source in Boston of a growing Trotskyist opposition in Moscow linked to an international revolutionary movement. Finally, going back to Ray Bennett, the mother, the Russian spy, who was a mother in America. Finally, through my research for this book, I was delighted to lay to rest one ghost. I uncovered the life and intelligence career of Ray Bennett, the first American to serve as a Soviet military intelligence officer in the United States. 80 years ago, Ray vanished from her young daughter's life. Joy Bennett ran into Ray's bedroom, as she did every morning, to discover her mother had disappeared. In 2017, I was able to explain to Joy her mother's career and the reason behind her arrest and eventual disappearance. Joy kindly described my work as sacred. The first American-Russian agent in the United States, a mother, living a double life, and the rest of the story I haven't caught up with in the book somewhere. 12 after 10. Gary, good morning.
Leighton, hi, how are you?
Very good.
Leighton, one of my favourite questions to ask people these days is what do you think of Trump? Because most of them will say, oh, I hate him. So the next question is why? What has he done wrong? And they can't really answer. They can't tell me why they hate him. So at that point I go on to explain that in the 18 months that Trump's been president, black unemployment is the lowest it's been in history. Hispanic unemployment is the lowest it's been in history. Female unemployment is the lowest it's been in over 30 years. He's the first president that made the effort to go and meet the leader of North Korea. He's just had a summit with Vladimir Putin. Illegal immigration into the States is the lowest it's been for so long because he's put the frighteners on all these criminals and illegal immigrants.
Well, it's on the rise again.
It's on the rise again. Okay, I'll take your word for that. But what really makes me sad, and it's like that, I think it was Paul before the news, who really doesn't follow the American news sources that he should be. He's being corrupted by NZME and how they report Trump. And this morning in the Herald, the Trump was the headline was, or the heading was Trump's treasonous conduct. Well, it wasn't a news item. It was an opinion piece from the Washington Times.
Washington Post.
Washington Post, sorry, which are notoriously anti-Trump. But the Herald just reproduce it as a news item. We're supposed to believe that this is what everybody's saying. Another piece on the news this morning.
No, I think in defence, and I try and be fair, and I put the boot in enough. So I think in defence, the arrangement that exists with the Washington Post and some other organisations was done some time ago. Now, I could have told them that they're going to the wrong source, but it's a matter of where you can get the best deal.
Well, there are better deals they could get.
To supply.
Look, Leighton, it's so biased. It's just so biased. It's outrageous.
Well, did you hear? Did you hear what I relayed earlier this morning about the Washington Post reporter?
No, I didn't.
I came across the story again, but I did it from memory. Here we are. Stand by. It's only short, this version of it. Washington Post columnist Josh Rogan tried really hard to burn President. Quote, Trump told Finnish president just now he enjoyed spending time with him at NATO summit. Rogan tweeted, tagging his CNN colleagues Jake Tapper and Christian Amanpour, Finland is not part of NATO. #awkward. He was made a fool of, though, because it turned out that the Finnish president was there. He was a guest there. He was a guest at the formal dinner, and there are photos of him with Trump. But that was an example of someone jumping on something that they thought was another boot into Trump without doing any checking.
Yeah, well, getting back to Paul before the news, he was saying what an embarrassment Trump is, and how, I forget the term, basically sexist and grabbed women by the genitals. We're talking about issues that occurred way, way before he was president. One thing I can tell you, that Trump will never be caught in the Oval Office with a 22-year-old intern. He's far too smart for that. It's just not going to happen. I mean, if you want to talk about dirty old men, look.
No. But hang on. That's ancient history now. That's ancient history.
Ancient history.
Forget it. Forget it. It's ancient history. Don't want to know about it. I'm getting constant emails today from Dave in Brisbane. Dave, I'm not replying because it's not worth it. You are so detached from reality, it saddens me. And I mean that. Now I'll get another one. Anyway, Gary, thanks for the call. 10:17.
Stop the carguments and record while you drive with a Navman dash camera. Grab yours at Noel Leeming today.
There's never been a better time to have hearing loss. Seriously. Advances in technology mean hearing solutions are getting smaller and smarter every day. Like the Swiss-crafted titanium. So small they're almost invisible. You can also get hearing devices that Bluetooth to your phone, so you keep connected with everything and everyone you love. Talk to Triton Hearing today about your free premium technology upgrade. Call 0800 45 45 42.
St. Pierre's, you're gonna love our sushi. St. Pierre's, it's always fresh and healthy. There's so much choice and we'll make it your way. Check out the sushi value of the day. St. Pierre's, it's a taste sensation. St. Pierre's, a sushi celebration, and no other sushi quite compares. So come on in to St. Pierre's. St. Pierre's, you're gonna love our sushi.
No battleground is as dangerous as the human heart. Join the Auckland Philharmonia Orchestra in association with New Zealand Opera for Verdi's thrilling opera, Aida. The Trust's Community Foundation Opera in concert, Verdi's Aida, 7:30 p.m. Friday the 20th of July, Auckland Town Hall. Book at ticketmaster.co.nz.
Love gardening but struggle to deal with your ongoing green waste? Consider it done. Every day our garden waste wheelie bins clean up backyards across New Zealand. It's so easy. Visit wastemanagement.co.nz. Enter your address, select your bin size and collection options and leave it to us. Or call 0800 10 10 10 and speak to one of our team. Waste Management, looking after New Zealand's waste needs for over 30 years. See online for T's and C's.
You could be new to business or an old hand with all the tricks. You could have just started up your first venture or still at it after 20 years on the business roller coaster. Wherever your business is at, Yes Finance's dedicated team specialise in finance that keeps business well supported with some of the best rates around. Interested? Go to yesfinance.co.nz.
Lending criteria, terms, fees and conditions apply.
Yes!
The countdown is on to the concert event of the year. One of the world's most iconic bands and a Kiwi music legend launched their North American tour.
Hello, this is Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac with Neil Finn live, and you could be there. Listen to Newstalk ZB, and you and a friend could be seeing Fleetwood Mac live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, thanks to Air New Zealand. Coming soon.
Hi, this is Stevie Nicks.
Fleetwood Mac live in Tulsa, thanks to Air New Zealand and Newstalk ZB.
Newstalk's about 20 after 10. Craig, morning.
Yeah, morning again, mate. Listen, I just got something very quickly I'd like to say. I'm a Trump supporter, but I'd just like to say how glad I am that he has not joined in the putting down of Putin on no evidence, considering how much of it's been tried to be done to him over the last 16 months or so.
Stop.
Yeah.
I think what you just said stands on its own as a very good summary of, if you like, in his defence.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very good.
Yep.
Don't have to agree with it, but it's a very good defence.
Yeah, I think he's showing his class. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, mate.
Class? Yeah. Do you know how many people think he's got no class at all?
I understand that, mate. I know you don't like Facebook, but I put something very pro-Trump on Facebook the other day, and I got about 1,000 people telling me about how much lack of class I had. So I gather I know, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for the call. Newstalk's about 21 past 10. I've been sent... I'm about to push the print button, but it runs 6 pages, so I'll have to have a decent look at it during the news break and see what I can utilise. And I know why it's been sent. FBI Director Hoover's dirty files, excerpt from Ron Kessler's The Secrets of the FBI. Most people, no, I can't say most people anymore because, different age groups, different information, different interests and what have you. But plenty of people know. The FBI Director kept infamous files on politicians' sex lives, including a new book's revelations on RFK, Robert Kennedy's secret meetings with Marilyn Monroe. I haven't read it. I'm not into gossip books. Even if they're on matters like this, I'm just sort of not into them. I'm more interested in the real issues. The only time, to me, that a man's or an individual's indiscretions are of value in the gossipy sense is when somebody starts throwing them elsewhere, and then you draw the comparison. Then you put up another example. Dave's been saying to me all morning that the Kennedys and even Obama, nothing to do with them anymore. It's all Trump now. It's Trump's responsibility. It's Trump's world. It's this, that, and the other. How can you possibly say that when Obama was responsible for shutting down an inquiry, an investigation into the meddling when it was known, because they didn't want anything affecting Hillary's chances in the election? And I'm not making it up. It's a fact. And that's only one example. You get the drift. 24 after 10 Newstalk ZB.
Are you working in a real estate shop? When we get walk-ins, we love to show off. Our massive floor is state-of-the-art breakout zones and meeting rooms everywhere, even a TARDIS. The auctioneer is in-house, advertising is written for you, and the backup is unbelievable. A bit lost? Do your sales staff work against each other? You need to talk to City Sales. If you can imagine there's a better way. Martin Dunn, 3030 601.
CitySales.co.nz.
Licensed real estate agent.
Always read the label and take as directed. Sleep Drops Auckland.
Are you losing the plot, yelling at the kids, lost your mojo, or actually worrying you're losing your marbles? The bad news is you might be. The good news is you might just need a little help from Daytime Revive, Sleep Drop's all-round awesome daytime energy support remedy. It simultaneously picks you up and calms you down. We think it's so cool, we're going to give it to you free with every 30 ml Sleep Drops for adults in Health 2000s and pharmacies across New Zealand for a limited time.
Want a career that doesn't feel like work? Yeah, you do. So head to UDO, New Zealand's newest career platform, powered by NZME. Knowing what career path to take starts with knowing yourself. With the UDO personality test, you can learn what makes you tick and what sets you apart. Perfect for finding your fit. Take the UDO personality test and search for your next job at udo.co.nz.
Get the key to your new BMW with Continental Cars BMW exclusive offers. Drive away in a new BMW 320i Shadow Edition from just $185 per week, or the sporty 125i M Sport for just $190 per week. Take advantage of our X5 run-out offers, including the X5 30D M Sport for $993 per month. All vehicles are packed with features and high spec. Take advantage of these limited time offers at Continental Cars BMW Takapuna. Finance terms and conditions apply.
That car in the driveway. That diamond on her hand. Those house repairs. There's lots of things that compete for funds when you're planning your dream holiday. Not with Yes Finance, who could take over your current loans, plus give you a bit of breathing room to turn that dream holiday into a holiday. Go to yesfinance.co.nz and start the journey.
Lending criteria, terms, fees and conditions apply.
Yes! News Talks will be 26 after 10. I just decided that we'd move on after 10:30. Jesus, it's hard. It's very difficult. When I'm confronted with the following. For instance, the CIA, writes Brian, and upper echelons of the FBI are the elite, often being appointed by presidents like Clinton did. Well, they all do, don't they? Mostly. These upper echelons love their power due to their ability to dig dirt on other politicians, thereby ensuring their elite and untouchable status. These people are the deep state, and boy do they hate whistleblowers like Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, and recently, and still alive, Kevin Shipp. President Woodrow Wilson wrote, "Know that there is a power somewhere so organised, so subtle, so watchful, so interlocked, so complete, so persuasive, that they had better not speak above their condemnation of it." And that's what Trump understands so innately. And then, latest Herald Washington Post reproduction. This has become quite a theme in the New Zealand Herald, which today reproduces yet another mainstream media piece encouraging white Western women not to breed. Out of the other side of its face, in this case, Washington Post, will tell its readers that mass immigration is required to prop up an economy facing a dwindling workforce. Well, that's because they support no borders and rearranging America to be something that it was never meant to be. And, of course, that affects all of us. Same attitude. 28 past 10, News Talk Sydney.
News Talk ZB Auckland. Time saver traffic.
Brain Day this Saturday. Google Brain Week for details. Good morning. And now the Southern Motorway City-bound slow patch Papakura through to Takanini, moderate heavy Alice through to Green Lane, the northern city-bound slow at Greville. No delays on the northwestern or the southwestern. The Neurological Foundation's Brain Day this Saturday. Panel discussions, mind-boggling activities. Google Brain Week. Focus on it for time saver traffic.
Why is living at Mayfair Retirement Village so appealing? We asked some of our residents.
This place had the buzz that I wanted.
I think the thing about Mayfair is that it's really like a little suburb. It's just got a very pleasant feeling. To me, it's a village. No, it's a little community.
Retirement your way at Mayfair. Come to their open day. Tomorrow, 10 till 1. Mayfair Retirement Village, Otiha Valley Road, North Cross, or view online, arenaliving.nz.
The Neurological Foundation presents Brain Day Auckland, the amazing brain, research, community and care on Saturday 21st July. Hear from New Zealand's top neurologists, neuroscientists and clinicians on topics including dementia, traumatic brain injury and the future of brains and machines. Learn about this complex topic and the ways it can affect our daily lives. To find out more about Brain Day Auckland, go to brainweek.co.nz for more details.
Hello, I'm Gordon from Allied Exteriors. This winter we'll be putting your plaster home to the test. If your plaster home hasn't been repainted for 7 years or more, now is the time to be thinking about repainting. Allied Exteriors are exterior painting and plaster cladding specialists, and we work all year round. Keep the weather on the outside of your home with a quality paint job. Just go to alliedexteriors.co.nz. We'll do the rest.
The Rugby World Cup Sevens.
Are you ready for this?
On TVNZ Duke.
She's going to go on the outside.
Free rugby. Watch the New Zealand teams fight to defend their titles.
The sweet taste of success.
Live, free and in HD, the Rugby World Cup Sevens. This weekend on TVNZ Duke.
How do they do that?
Newstalk ZB headlines.
With Blue Bubble taxis, it's no trouble with Blue Bubble. The police watchdog says an officer who pepper sprayed a man holding on to a colleague's leg in a police cell acted with excessive force and unlawfully. The West Auckland Burmese couple who drowned yesterday while fishing loved the activity and spent a lot of time at Muriwai. A 17-year-old Kiwi teen held at an adult detention centre in Melbourne for months has been freed following criticism by New Zealand's government. Some jewellery owners are becoming reluctant to part with their goods for valuations or cleaning after a Hamilton jeweller was convicted of switching stones for ones of lesser value. House prices around the country continue to rise, hitting a record average of $560,000 in June. A peninsula on Scotland's north coast has been chosen as the location for the UK's first spaceport. And a man is being treated for smoke inhalation after a fire erupted in a microwave in a Thames boarding house. Kate Hawkesby says a new statue proposed for Auckland's Bastion Point is a giant waste of money. See it now at nzherald.co.nz. Back to Leighton Smith.
It is 28 to 11. I'm going to postpone transferring subject matter. I'm in receipt of so much good commentary, including Steve. Thank you for that. Including Steve, who sent me Matthew Parris's piece from, or should I say, the article by Matthew Parris, the op-ed piece from the Sunday Times, which I read on Sunday, by the way, Steve, and then forgot about, because there's so much. But we'll get to it. Max, I have visited different parts of the USA over the years and noticed changing attitudes to success. When I first visited there in the 70s, the attitude of the people to those who were successful and achieved something was, if that person can do it, then if I work hard and really apply myself, then I can get to be the same. Got to say that was the attitude that I grew up with. And I remember being at school in the 60s, and that was sort of like a bit of a mantra. You know, you'd be walking to school. I can remember this. I can remember exactly the street. I can remember who I was with, walking to school, and a Chevy Corvette went past. And I was a huge Chevrolet fan. Chevy Corvette went past. And all it did was give us ambition. Never had one. Never will. But it gave us, I want to achieve so I can have one. Why was it then, but it's not now, do you reckon? Anyway, he goes on. Sadly, over the years, we might answer the question. This attitude slowly changed to what it is now, which seems to be if someone is successful, then let's get all the salacious dirt we can on them and drag them down. You might disagree with me, but when I look around me now, daily, the thrust of all news is to destroy an elected president. Pretty correct. It would seem the Constitution that the Americans so proudly proclaim is their safeguard is now an inconvenient obstacle. Max, I could wax until 11 o'clock on that particular point. The Democrats and the left hate the Constitution because it stands in the way of what they want to achieve. Now, from Bob, and I want to read Bob's because he is an American, been here a long time. I knew Bob vaguely years ago. He moved out of town. He's now somewhere else, and I haven't heard from him for ages. So it's nice to know that you're breathing. He says, all one has to do, and by the way, he's disagreed with me on times too, all one has to do is look at the lead stories in the Herald or any US newspapers or left-wing media outlet to see how Kiwis and Americans are obsessed with celebrity and celebrities. They're more engaged with reality shows than reality. Yes, they are true, aren't they? So it's not surprising that these same people consider appearance far more important than substance when it comes to Trump. Regardless of whether or not he used a teleprompter, Obama is a brilliant speaker. No, he wasn't. Without the teleprompter, Bob, he was a crap speaker. Constantly. So is Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was a sensational speaker. I got dragged kicking and screaming to his speech dinner down here at the the waterfront back whenever it was. And his engagement with the audience with no notes was incredible. They are charmers who know how to mesmerize an audience by telling them exactly what they want to hear. They are, like Jacinda Ardern, polished politicians. Trump is not a politician. He's a what you see is what you get businessman who took on the job of POTUS because he thought he could cut through the political swamp that the federal government had become and lead the country back to its basic fundamental principles. Unlike the last few presidents and presidential candidates, Trump says what he means and means what he says. Debate about that, though, Bob. Which also means he doesn't necessarily say what people want to hear. And those people are so spoiled by previous presidents they feel entitled to be cosseted and charmed. Liberals are lazy. They let other people do their thinking for them. They don't want their beliefs challenged. They will always choose appearance over substance and throw tantrums when they don't get their way. Gee, that's good. Tick. Pass. 23-11. Now, the article by Matthew Parris, I'm going to take the break and then come back and regale you with that. It is about Brexit, by the way, in the main.
Grab your new Toyota Hilux from Albany Toyota today. 3.9% finance on selected Hilux models until August 31st. All new vehicles from Albany Toyota drive away with on-road costs included, full tank of fuel, 1-year registration, initial warrant of fitness, 1,000 kilometre road user charges and genuine floor mats. Grab your 3.9% Hilux offer today at Albany Toyota. Terms and conditions and Toyota Finance normal lending criteria apply.
Follow the leader, Albany Toyota.
Albany.co.nz.
Want to find real talent? Yeah, you do. So head to UDO, New Zealand's newest career platform, powered by NZME. UDO is so much more than a recruitment site. We have all the connections needed to link your business to the right talent. UDO is ready to change the world of work. We're all about what you do. Visit yudu.co.nz.
PwC Herald Talks.
Who better to discuss the new generation making waves in the workplace than a millennial? PwC Herald Talks brings you Sam Stutchbury, founder of award-winning creative agency Motion Sickness. Sam, the only Kiwi to make the 2018 Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia list of creative disruptors, will be joined by a panel of experts for PwC Herald Talks. Millennials Move Up, Gen Z Move In. July 25th at Sky City Theatre. Book now at iTicket.
Need a change of direction? Looking for the next step? Here's your chance. In 2018, Baileys are looking to grow the team behind New Zealand's #1 rural real estate brand. If you're good with people, motivated to achieve great results and passionate about rural New Zealand, then Baileys want you. If you're considering a change and would like to find out more about this excellent career opportunity, contact Carol Henry on 0800 Baileys or carol.henry@baileys.co.nz. Licensed REAA 2008.
Robust debate, robust discussion, robust opinion. Call 0800 80 1080. The Leighton Smith Show on Newstalk ZB.
Newstalk ZB, it's 21-11. From the Sunday Telegraph in London, an op-ed piece written by Matthew Parris. On Brexit, trade, NATO spending or China, the President has a habit of saying what more genteel folk secretly think. Kissing Theresa May better after roughing her up was neither contrition nor revision. Donald Trump plays soft cop to his own hard cop. It was the first stomach punch that was indicative. The president was right first time about a US-UK trade deal, and he knows it. The Sun headline was exactly what he intended, while the subsequent there, I didn't really mean it, should be understood as a kind of exquisite torture. As a cat plays with a mouse, Mr. Trump does it because he can. This visit by the 45th President of the United States will be viewed as a turning point in 21st century British and European politics. As we digest, we will see the occasion as more important than any childish barrage balloons, Trumpish kicks at our hapless Prime Minister, or exchange of discourtesies can possibly convey. No future president will want to unwind what he said about NATO, about special trade deals for Britain, or about the choices facing us. Because this is not really about Donald Trump. It's about great forces in history. It's about great forces in history. It's about America, an America of which Mr. Trump may strike us as a disagreeable caricature, but of which he is also, in some ways, a distillation. It's about how nations with almost unlimited power use it, have always used it, and always will. Power has no need to act refined. The way Trump combs his hair, wipes his nose, ties his tie, or treats his hosts is not the point. He can handle his hair, his nose, his tie, and his hosts any way he likes. He is President of the United States of America. I want doesn't get is what we British children were brought up to believe. A US president is empowered to adopt a different maxim, and we may shake our tiny British fists in rage and horror, but we must finally face it. Yapping by my fellow British Liberals is beginning to grate. H.L. Mencken got it in many ways right, in one way wrong. On July 26, 1920, the greatest columnist in the history of English language journalism wrote this in the Baltimore Sun. As democracy is perfected, the office of president represents more and more closely the inner soul of the people. On some great and glorious day, and plain folks of the land, I'm reading it as it is, on some great and glorious day, the plain folks of the land will reach their heart's desire at last, and the White House will be adorned by a downright moron. It would be tempting to say that 98 years later, Mencken's prophecy has been fulfilled. But that would not quite be right. This president is most assuredly not a moron. It's far more complicated than that. Life is too short to deconstruct the mental processes of Donald Trump, so let me quote my former Times colleague, Michael Gove. After interviewing the president in January 2017 for this newspaper, the now Environment Secretary remarked, "Intelligence comes in many forms. Properly understood, the remark was neither sarcastic nor fawning, but puzzled and thoughtful. Way back in the last century, Margaret Thatcher's rather fastidious and left-of-centre colleague, the then Norman St. John or St. John Stevis, remarked, St. John Stevis. The trouble with Margaret, that's what happens when you work with somebody who worked with them. Thank you. The trouble with Margaret is that when she speaks without thinking, she says what she thinks. Let me repeat it. The trouble with Margaret is that when she speaks without thinking, she says what she thinks. It's a cute line, but it's good. Both men were, in their ways, describing the same phenomenon. The crude honesty that can come with brute strength. Donald Trump doesn't care to think too much before he speaks and has a habit of saying what he thinks. And the trouble with us, not him, is that what he thinks is what plenty of more genteel and considered folk do actually think, but don't like to say. Now, I'm only halfway through, but that'll do. It's a very good piece. Sunday Times, if you want. If you can find it. For some who will, I'd simply search Matthew Paris and see if it's now available outside of the the lockup. 15 to 11, Newstalk ZB. Numbers 0800 80 1080. Email Leighton at newstalkzb.co.nz, and you can text on 9292.
At 8:37, it's time for all the talk, all the debate, all the information. Now, on the Leighton Smith Show on Newstalk ZB.
Now, I could talk about the same matter all morning, but for the sake of those of you who are not on the same, I want to do a poll, just a short one. I want to do a poll on the monument that is being discussed for Bastion Point. The question is, do you like the idea? A 50-metre monument. Do you like the idea of having one there? It's very simple, straightforward. Do you like the idea? That's the question. Then you can have A, B, C and D if you want. What it should be, who should pay for it, and any other aspects of it that you want to comment on. But my question is, do you like the idea? Do you approve of the idea? Do you want it to happen? 0800 80 1080. Barbara, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Leighton. Long time since I've spoken to you. Fascinating womanhood all those years ago. But listen, just thinking of your last thread on Donald's speech, the difference between introverts and extroverts. As the extrovert thinks, so he speaks. The introvert always senses what he's going to say. And I think this could probably account for Donald's maybe not always wise things that come out of his mouth. You get the picture? You know, the extrovert, she's only got to think it, and next minute it's out. So, yes, she can put her foot in her mouth left, right and centre.
Well, when you say thinks, only has to think it, the point that was being made in that column was by H.L. was it Mencken? Anyway, the point in the column was that they don't think it first. They say it. It's not something that's pre-thought. It's simply said, and what they're saying is what they're thinking, but they're not. They're not thinking.
I've never looked at it that way.
They're not thinking beforehand. They know what they feel. They know where they're at. They don't have to pre-think it. It just emerges.
But even as that thought comes, it's out of the mouth without sort of thinking, now, should I be saying this or should I not?
Correct.
Yeah.
But they're saying what they think, and that's what they want to say.
Yeah, true, but not always wise at the time, or not necessary. If they took time to think about it, they possibly wouldn't say it.
But then they wouldn't be the person they are.
True, it's true.
So
anyway,
if you have an attitude of philosophy, and you're comfortable with it, you don't need to think about what you get asked a question. You don't need to think about what you're going to say, or you might even ask. You might be just making a speech, and it just comes out because that's what you are. That's what your philosophy is. What your thinking is. So you don't need to plan it.
But if you're an introvert, you'd probably consider what you're going to say. But then that goes opposite to what you've just said. You know, the introvert, they will never give you an instant answer. They think before they speak.
So what am I, an extrovert or an introvert? When I was being questioned earlier this morning, I wasn't responding according to the desire of the questioner.
Oh, listen, you're just amazing, and
I'm sorry I asked.
I think you can extrovert with the best of us, but you've got the wisdom to know what you want to say.
I'm very impressed with your insight, but I can hear the sound of chunder all over.
Lovely, Leighton. Well, blessings on you, right. And keep on the good work.
Thanks, Barbara.
Okay, bye.
Newstalk ZB, it's 10 to 11. No, I meant it, am I an extrovert or an introvert? I think I'm confused, to be honest. Seriously. I don't think I'm either. I'm a little disappointed, writes, just before I take the break, I'm a little disappointed, writes whoever, with Trey Gowdy, who has declared, don't forget the monument, please. I took Barbara because she was there, but I'm waiting for, I want comment on the monument, whether you love the idea, or, well, there's no point in ringing and leaving your opinion off here, which is what I'm told people are doing. I want to discuss it from all the aspects. I'm a little disappointed with Trey Gowdy, who has declared that the Mueller probe is not a witch hunt. I have great admiration for Gowdy, who I consider to be a genuine constitutional patriot, but I think he's way off base on this matter. I can only assume that Gowdy is so traumatised by the extent of deep state corruption that he is experiencing some form of cognitive dissonance. What do you make of Gowdy, Leighton? He has... Remember when he came to light? He sort of appeared out of nowhere. And all of a sudden there was this striking House of Representatives guy who was just slaying them verbally. And then he sort of went a bit AWOL. Basically what you do, Bryce. That's what I think.
Applications for the 2019 Xander McDonald Awards are now open. Let's recognise our young leaders in agriculture with one of Australasia's top badges of honour. The awards are open to those 35 years or younger, with the winner taking away a prize package worth $50,000. Enter now. Applications close August 24th. Go to pppgroup.org. The 2019 Xander McDonald Awards, proudly sponsored by Allflex, supporting tomorrow's leaders in agriculture.
PwC Herald Talks.
Who better to discuss the new generation making waves in the workplace than a millennial? PwC Herald Talks brings you Sam Stutchbury, founder of award-winning creative agency Motion Sickness. Sam, the only Kiwi to make the 2018 Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia list of creative disruptors, will be joined by a panel of experts for PwC Herald Talks. Millennials Move Up, Gen Z Move In. July 25th at Sky City Theatre. Book now at iTicket.
Want to find real talent? Yeah, you do. So head to UDO, New Zealand's newest career platform, powered by NZME. UDO is so much more than a recruitment site. We have all the connections needed to link your business to the right talent. UDO is ready to change the world of work. We're all about what you do. Visit yudu.co.nz.
Stop sitting on the fence deciding whether to sell or wait. Secure your place in the spring edition of Bailey's Country Magazine to realise your property's potential and showcase it to Country Magazine's proven readership base and extensive local, national and international contacts. Bookings for the spring edition of Country Magazine close soon. Lock your country spot in today. Call 0800 Baileys for more information or visit baileys.co.nz/country. Licensed real estate agents.
With Yui, there are 40 ways to save on insurance. As owner of an investment property managed by an agent, Jack could save on landlord insurance.
I'm listening.
Any tall trees around?
Nope.
Been with your current insurer for more than 5 years?
Yep.
And you could save at claim time. If multiple insured risks are damaged by a single covered event, Jack could only pay one excess.
Great!
Plus a 15% discount when you buy your insurance online. Why not see how many of the 40 ways apply to you? With Yui, you could save lots. Just go to yui.co.nz and get a quote online. Underwriting T's and C's apply.
Good morning, Leighton. If Phil Goff endorses the monument, then I oppose it. Gary, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Leighton. No, definitely against that monument. Nothing should come anywhere near Mickey Savage's memorial. Nothing should be any bigger than that. You've got to wonder where the hell the council are getting their money from, because they keep pleading they've got none.
Well,
definitely against it.
I know, and you know.
Yeah, we do.
From the suckers.
Yep, you're right.
Anyway,
you can only keep bleeding.
No, but do you? Okay,
for so long.
All right. So you're not in favour of it.
No.
But is it you're being biased by or swayed to bias by the circumstances? What if it was a tall? Well, it's got to be tall, 50 metres for heaven's sake. What if it was a tall monument of something appropriate that you approved of that stood there?
I don't think there should be any monument on that hill at all, because we've got a monument that from a guy that was a great guy, and that's how it should stay. Nothing else on that hill.
Gary, thanks for your call. Gary, number 2. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm ringing from Napier. Look, don't you get, like me, a bit wary of all this monument building by past mayors in the hope that they'll be remembered in the future for something? I know I do. The fact is, down here, you may or may not be aware, we're supposed to have the National Aquarium of New Zealand. Now, we received a brochure, and it says, say at Napier, what next? Long-term 2018-2028 consultation. And going on about the aquarium, nowhere do they show what the foot traffic was in the past year, the year before that, or the year before that. Yet they want to spend $10.2 million, that's the minimum, on improving it. Mm-hmm. Now, I would suggest to you, if you want to make an improvement to your house, your bank would want to know what your cash flow was and your income stream was, wouldn't they? Yeah. Before they'd even consider it. And yet they can't provide us with the facts of visitor numbers. In other words, whether they're increasing, decreasing, or remaining static. And yet we're supposed to make an opinion on whether they should spend a minimum of $10.2 million on improving it. Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah, it
completely.
is.
I don't know how ignorant they think we are out here in voterland, but the fact is that, as I've always said, we're captured clientele. We can't walk away from it, and we've just got to suffer it.
I would suggest to you, Gary, that they think of you with contempt in the main.
You're dead right. You're so right.
All right.
They're much like central government. Until they want your vote, when they're all over you like a rash, the rest of the time you're treated with contempt.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call.
Bye.
He's not wrong. A variation on a theme, apart. He's not wrong. For what it's worth, from Dave, over a quarter century ago, I drove up to Bastion Point. I'll never forget the hatred I saw in the eyes. I believe you know what I mean. Well, I believe that I think I know what you mean. Then have I got... Yes, I have. From Andrew. I know scant detail regarding the monument being discussed for Bastion Point. Suffice it to say, ratepayer money and married land, or perceived as such. I can't help but think that the opportunity to build not only a monument or a landmark, which in and of itself could be a great thing, but the greater community would be the building of goodwill. 1 million, when balanced against the finances in Maori coffers, is a drop in the ocean. This could have been a wonderful gift to all the citizens of Auckland, New Zealand, and visitors to our shore.
Imagine a world where your smartphone wasn't laggy and slow. A world where your phone didn't smash its screen every time you dropped it. This year, One Phone Store has compiled a video crash test of the world's toughest phones. One Phone Store, the outdoor phone store. Unbelievable phones, now showing at theoutdoorphonestore.com.
Now, from St. Pierre's Sushi Stores, the sushi value of the day on a Tuesday is fresh salmon and avocado. 8 big pieces of fresh salmon and avocado, $5.70. Miso, couple of bucks, bit more. 3 different sizes of miso, though. You don't need a big one, because when you put it with an 8-pack of sushi, it's very, very filling. But a smaller one is just great. St. Pierre's Sushi, value of the day.
There's never been a better time to have hearing loss. Seriously. Advances in technology mean hearing solutions are getting smaller and smarter every day. Like the Swiss-crafted titanium. So small they're almost invisible. You can also get hearing devices that Bluetooth to your phone, so you keep connected with everything and everyone you love. Talk to Triton Hearing today about your free premium technology upgrade. Call 0800 45 45 42.
PwC Herald Talks.
Who better to discuss the new generation making waves in the workplace than a millennial? PwC Herald Talks brings you Sam Stutchbury, founder of award-winning creative agency Motion Sickness. Sam, the only Kiwi to make the 2018 Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia list of creative disruptors, will be joined by a panel of experts for PwC Herald Talks. Millennials Move Up, Gen Z Move In. July 25th at Sky City Theatre. Book now at iTicket.
You like listening to things, right? You're doing it right now. Then we want you to join the podcast movement. iHeartRadio. Get into a good story, a crack-up comedy, or an intellectual adventure as you commute. For free. Imagine catching up on world news as you do your grocery shopping. Discover why podcasts are taking the world by storm. Join the podcast movement. Download the iHeartRadio app. Never miss a beat.
iHeartRadio. In Auckland on live from the Newstalk ZB News Centre. This is Newstalk ZB News.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Malcolm Jordan. The police watchdog says an officer who pepper sprayed a man holding on to his colleague's leg acted unlawfully. The Independent Police Conduct Authority found the officer's use of the spray was excessive for the situation. Jordan Bond has more.
The aggressive and drunk man was pepper sprayed when he wouldn't let go of an officer's leg while he was in custody. The IPCA found that the officer should have used a less violent level of force before resorting to using the spray. Judge Colin Doherty found the officer's actions were unjustified and against both the law and police policy.
Some jewellery owners are becoming reluctant to part with their goods for valuations or cleaning for fear of a diamond switch. Hamilton jeweller Dale Mooney is serving a 12-month home detention sentence after admitting swapping real diamonds for fakes while operating diamond jewellers. Neroli Fonacier is a jeweller at Kennett's in Christchurch. She says some customers are very anxious about losing sight of their jewellery.
If they come to have a valuation done, which we do here on the premises, some people will want to actually sit with their jewellery and watch us like a hawk. As I say, it doesn't happen often, but I have had that happen.
A freight train has ploughed through a herd of around 20 cows. The cattle were wandering on a track at Kaipara Flats, north of Auckland, around 9 last night. It's believed 6 or 7 have had to be put down as a result of their injuries. Kiwi Rail's operations manager, Henare Clark, says it's a timely reminder for farmers to keep their land well fenced. The train was undamaged and the track's open. New figures released by the Real Estate Institute continue to highlight the need for more homes around the country. The average house price in New Zealand rose by almost 6% in June to a record $560,000. Now the Institute is urging the government to get Kiwi-build homes done as quickly as possible to ease pressure on the market. Real Estate Institute Chief Executive Bindi Norwell says because supply is tight, prices are inevitably going to rise.
So what we're seeing is the lack of supply is really impacting the prices, particularly in the regions.
Donald Trump is facing widespread condemnation in Washington over his softly approach to Vladimir Putin. The US president has come out of a one-on-one meeting with the Russian leader, refusing to blame him for election meddling in the 2016 election. Trump has instead cast doubt on the findings and intentions of his own intelligence agencies. The BBC's David Willis says Trump is facing harsh criticism from intelligence officials and even members of his own party.
Newt Gingrich, a one-time advisor to Donald Trump, saying it's the most serious mistake of his presidency. Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell also seeking to distance themselves.
The acting Prime Minister is shrugging off low performance in the services sector, suggesting it could be a sign of increased productivity. BNZ and Business New Zealand's Performance of Services Index has fallen to its lowest level since 2012. National says it's a worrying sign of a slowing economy. But Winston Peters says it could instead mean we're being more efficient.
It could be a greater use of technology and working smarter because the GDP is still growing and we'll still, by the forecasts of international bodies and the IMF and others, we'll still be growing at 3%.
A peninsula on Scotland's north coast has been chosen as the location for the UK's first spaceport. The UK government will provide around $5 million to develop the spaceport, which is hoped will be operational by the early 2020s. Newstalk ZB Sport. James Marshall is returning to the Hurricanes for the 2019 Super Rugby season. The utility back played the last of his 44 matches for the Canes in the 2016 final before linking up with London Irish. Prop Alex Fido has also re-signed with the franchise for next year, while loose forward Reid Prinsep has signed on until the end of 2020. Golfer Ryan Fox has continued his rise up the world rankings following a 6th place finish at the Scottish Open. He's moved to 84th in the world. That's up 3 from his previous career best last week. Fox has been grouped alongside previous major winners Keegan Bradley and Jason Duffner for the opening round of the British Open on Thursday night at Carnoustie. Michael Hendry, who has dropped 7 spots to world number 228, has been grouped with England's former world number 1 Lee Westwood and American world number 126 Kelly Craft. Usain Bolt's Australian agent claims a deal has been agreed in principle to bring the champion sprinter to the Central Coast Mariners. If finalised, Bolt would head for a 6-week trial with the Mariners starting next month, with a season-long deal on the table should he make the grade. Agent Tony Rallis has told Sydney's Sky Sports Radio that it relies on a couple of things being approved.
Subject to a couple of benchmarks, namely a trial, and, of course, some marquee fund support from the FFA.
Morales says the owner of Central Coast Mariners has guaranteed 70% of Bolt's salary. A London Underground station has been temporarily renamed after England's football manager. Southgate Tube Station has been renamed Gareth Southgate Station for 48 hours following the side's best World Cup run since 1990. Users on the Piccadilly line will see the manager's name on its signs until the end of tomorrow. I'm Malcolm Jordan. That's Newstalk 7 News and Sport with Wet and Forget. Remember, it works, you don't. It's 11:06. Leighton Smith is moments away.
Newstalk ZB Auckland. Time saver traffic.
Brain Day this Saturday. Google Brain Week for details. Good morning. The Southern Motorway Citybbound heavy Papakura through to Takanini. Moderate heavy Ellerslie through to Green Lane. No delays on the northern, northwestern or the southwestern. 0800 jammed updates us. The Neurological Foundation's Brain Day this Saturday. Panel discussions, mind-boggling activities. Google Brain Week. Ivanka Zonich for time saver traffic.
Newstalk ZB Weather Watch 24/7 with Mike Rea Homes. Free SMEG package with all homes purchased in July. For the harbours, the Hauraki Gulf and Bream Head to Cape Colville, westerly of 10 to 15 knots. That'll tend southwest of 10 this afternoon, then easing, to variable 5 this evening. Sea slight, choppy when the wind opposes the tide. The next high tide for Auckland is 4 minutes past 11 tonight. One's just gone by at 20 to 11 this morning. On the turn, and high tide at Onehunga is 6 minutes to 2 this afternoon. Today and tomorrow for Auckland, it's going to be a little bit cloudy. There will be some showers. There'll be a westerly wind. High 16 today, low 9 tonight, high of 15 tomorrow. Thursday, rain developing on Thursday morning, then easing to isolated showers in the afternoon, westerly and 15. Right now, 15 degrees.
Prove a point. Prove them wrong. All right. Call 0800 80 1080 now. It's the Leighton Smith Show on Newstalk ZB.
Tis 7 after 11. Email is Leighton at newstalkzb.co.nz and you can text on 9292. I have some ideas where Mr. Goff can stick that statue. And then I'll miss out the rest and finish up with, I hope I've made my position clear. Yes, and quite uncomfortable at the thought of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Bastion Point privately owned married land? If taxpayers pay for a monument on private property, can the owners of that property turn around at any time and refuse or restrict access or ask for koha? I have a feeling that I read that earlier, although it arrived at 10:57. That's on Trump. That's on Barkers. Now, Kate Hawkesby this morning made some comments with regard to this that I thought were on target. And the comments went something like this. And how is it the council can easily drum up $1 million for a design phase of a statue and hand out that money unilaterally without any consultation, yet run a city which is full of families unable to heat their homes, afford healthy food, visit the doctor, or buy warm clothes? Our PM, in her 5 days at Waitangi this year, went to great lengths to point out the disturbing overrepresentation of Maori in many of our statistics regarding poverty, health, smoking, incarceration, home ownership. She said we need to tackle these areas and start addressing the inequality. I'll bite my tongue for the moment. Are we doing that? Have we made any progress yet? I think it makes more sense to start seeing some gains in those areas, start helping those at the coalface, laying the foundations, education and groundwork needed to bring about real and positive change, and perhaps then, and only then, we could look at building a big statue. I've got an idea. Why don't we build a big golden calf? Now, where have I heard of that before? A big golden calf. Oh, yes, I remember. The commentary that I've just quoted you is on target. However, where the author says, are we doing that yet? Have we made any progress yet? I think it makes more sense to start seeing some gains in those areas, start helping those at the coalface, laying the foundations, education and groundwork needed to bring, etc., etc., etc. That's been in place and going on in one form or another for as long as I can remember. Why is there still a problem? Why is there still a problem when money has been poured into those areas by the billion over any length of decades? Should be any number of decades, any length of time. Seriously. And the answer is because the money that's been poured in is wasted. Constantly, continually wasted. If it wasn't, we wouldn't have a problem any longer. Could it have anything to do with the programs that accompany it? The people who are receiving it? Whoever they might be? And a lack of insistence that results are realised. Could be. I'd bet on it. Wrong programs that attract money are still wrong programs that waste money. And it's been happening far too much, far too often. Geez, Dave, that's your field. Do I get to hear from you on that one? On other matters, although I've had a look at no, there's more to be said on that. The putting aside at this point of time by the Mayor of Auckland of $1 million just to look into the design of it, the possible design of this monument. Am I the only one that thinks still that $1 million is a hell of a lot of money? I know it doesn't get you too much if you put it in the bank, but it's still you'd have a hell of a time on it if you had $1 million. Am I the only one, and I know I'm not, who thinks that throwing $1 million to design a statue, a monument, is sane? Have a school kids competition. Give them $10 prize money. You probably come up with something just as good as anybody else can come up with. $1 million to investigate the designing of it. I think they said, I know that was a long gap. I think they set an example in Paris last night. Or the night before. About how to behave when councils and governments get out of hand, lose the plot. Mind you, they weren't rioting against them, they were just rioting against anything and everything. But, geez, it surprises me sometimes there isn't a bit more action. Not that I'm encouraging it, 11 Newstalk ZB.
For the one that's a bus stop from work, oneroof.co.nz. Buying, selling, all things property.
There's barely time to manage an investment apartment between getting the kids ready, off to school, racing to work, to save lives, literally. Then picking up the kids, to get home, to cook dinner. Which is why Duval are building apartments for $550,000 that come fully managed and furnished, adding as much as $50 onto its weekly rental value. Let your investment grow itself and spend time on more important things. Text INVEST to 875.
From midnight, join in on a lively mix of talkback, news and views with Overnight Talk, thanks to Go for Health, the home of Numa Health natural supplements. Overnight Talk from midnight tonight with Go for Health, only on Newstalk ZB.
Now, if you're looking at
Walk or run your way to a brighter future for thousands of New Zealanders by joining this year's ASB Auckland Marathon. Completing any of the race options will help raise funds for spinal cord injury research. So please visit catwalk.org.nz to join our team.
Now, if you're looking at getting a heat pump this winter, then you really do need to talk to Oxyair. Why? Because Oxygenair is Auckland's heat pump specialist and will have the right solution for you. And this includes ducted central heating and cooling systems. In fact, Oxygenair installs more ducted systems than any other, 30% of your new ducted system. So it's a great time to look at heating, cooling and ventilating your entire home or office. One of the Oxygenair consultants will come and visit with you, work out exactly what you need and provide you with a free quote. Oxygenair, call them today to get up to 30% off your new ducted heat system. 0800 85 40 85. 0800 85 40 85 or visit oxyair.co.nz.
When there's no time for sick days, take Buckalin. It's the only natural active oral vaccine that helps give 3 months protection against the bacterial complications of colds, such as sore throats, sneezes, runny noses and coughs. Join over 100,000 Kiwis already helping to power their immunity strength with Buckalin. Ask your pharmacist for Buckalin tablets today. When there's no time for sick days, take Buckalin. Always read the label, take as directed. Does not replace the flu injection. Pharma Broker Auckland.
Where will Stevie Nicks, Mick Fleetwood and Neil Finn be on the 3rd of October? They could be with you in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hello, this is Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac.
Newstalk ZB can get you to see Fleetwood Mac live as they kick off their North American tour with our very own Neil Finn. Coming soon.
Hi, this is Stevie Nicks.
Fleetwood Mac, live in Tulsa. Thanks to Air New Zealand and Newstalk ZB.
Daryl, good morning.
How are we?
We're very good.
The $1 million. Well, it makes me wonder, because I know that the reasons that are given for being able to spend such a large sum of money for the possibility of a possibility is that it's such a small percentage of their overall budget. But surely there are significantly greater uses for money along those lines. I mean, I use as one example the government just pulling the funding of $8 million for the mental health help for the police. They could fund 1/8 of that for a good start.
I don't think it's a matter of funding anything, to be honest. Your example aside, I don't think that's the point. You know, what else it could be spent on, as in coming up with a positive answer. And here's why. They're nearly $8 billion in debt. Cutting funding, period, is highly desirable.
When you have $8 billion worth of debt, particularly for a city that is the size of Auckland, it does seem somewhat strange that they can just feel like throwing $1 million here and $1 million there is actually a wise use of money, though.
When you're a socialist, it doesn't really register. Other people's money.
Yeah, I knew you were going to head down that path, and unfortunately I think you're too right. It does tend to fit into the category of other people's money, and it's just too easy to keep spending because they look at the general population essentially as an ATM machine, and every council around the country is doing exactly the same thing, proven by the fact that they are constantly putting rates up well beyond the rate of inflation, and forcing people into positions where they're actually starting to question whether they can actually afford to own their own homes because they can't afford to pay the rates anymore.
You reminded me, I get a lot of communications, and a lot of them don't get to air, regretfully. But somebody wrote to me this morning and said that they are paying, their rates are going up, and it was a dramatic amount. Not that, forget the 2.5, up a dramatic amount. Let me ask you a question, and it's completely out of the blue, and if you don't have an answer to it, then don't worry. Sweden. Is Sweden a good country to be basing our attitude to life and our approach to politics on, do you think?
In its entirety, I'd have to say absolutely not. I don't think that we should be basing ourselves on any country in its entirety. I'm sure there are positive things that we can take, but equally there will be significantly negative things that would be seen as being positive for them, but would be negative for us. I think that ultimately when you start making comparisons to other countries, you have to be very, very careful about where and what you cherry pick that will work within the environment that you're trying to have it work within. New Zealand's an entirely different species to any other country on the planet, even our closest neighbour, Australia. We are very, very similar, but we have a lot of differences, which means that some of the things that they do would not impact wisely on us here. So I don't know that it answers your question.
No, it does, and it was a damn good answer too, far better than I expected. Appreciate it, Daryl. By the way, I raised Sweden for a reason. If you're still listening in a short while, you'll understand why. Thanks for the call.
No problems.
Well, I wasn't going to, but he led me into it, and that's what I love. By the way, there's the guy. I threw him a curveball, and he gave me an outstanding answer. It's 22 after 11, Newstalk ZB.
Newstalk ZB Extra.
Is this a rort? What's going on here?
There's certainly huge costs for retailers in using PayWave and PayPass. If a customer uses an EFTPOS card, a traditional EFTPOS card, to make a transaction, effectively that costs the retailer nothing. Whereas our most recent research suggests that they're paying 1.2% on every contactless transaction in bank fees associated with the use of their card.
That was a Newstalk ZB Extra.
Now, from Walker and Hall, helping Kiwis shine since 1899, I just flicked up their website and I saw something that I thought I should go back to, but I'm not going to because I found myself on the rings page. And I have to say there's some extremely stunning rings. 9-carat yellow gold with zirconium men's ring. I'm not a ring man. There's only one I've got. I only want one. I never wanted any. But I've got to say that ring is a stunner. So while we're on to men's rings, there's another one, another stunner. That 9-carat yellow gold with zirconium is $780. There is a black zirconium 2 grooves men's ring for $465. Or a black zirconium sanded finish men's ring. Look, I didn't know that they did men's rings. I've just discovered that for the first time, but there's a bunch of them. So if you're looking for a present for, a bloke in your life, or if you are looking, could be anybody looking for a present for the bloke in their life, couldn't it, these days? So I suggest at least a good look on the Walker and Hall website would be a great start. Go to rings, and you'll see what I mean. Seriously. I love that first one, the 9-carat yellow gold. Beautiful. Walker and Hall.
Struggling to find a solution for your ongoing general waste? Make the job simple with one call to Waste Management. With easy online payment options, you can set and forget with the right size wheelie bin and collection options to suit your household. So save yourself the hassle of buying prepaid bags and call Waste Management today on 0800 10 10 10. or visit wastemanagement.co.nz. Terms and conditions apply.
John, good morning.
Good morning, Leighton. I'm ringing with regards to these statues that are popping up all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The Dunedin City Council has just allocated some ground to put up a statue to the conscientious objectors of the First and Second World War. It's nothing but disgusting.
I don't know what to say to you.
Well, I mean, next time Dave Cole attends the Anzac Day services, he wants to hang his head in shame.
Look, if you've got conscientious objectors based on reality, on serious objection. You know, I grew up in a religion where they were conscientious objectors, but they all went off to war. My grandfather went off to war as in the medical corps. He wasn't a doctor or anything. He went off in the medical corps and did stuff, stretcher bearers and that sort of thing. I haven't got a problem with that, and neither should anybody. But I suspect that they mean conscientious objectors of a different kind.
Well, how many kinds are there? I mean, they're calling them pacifists now. They've waited till all the old soldiers have passed away before they decided on this avenue.
Mm. I think it smells to high heaven.
Well, that's the council we've got here now.
Well, tell me something. Dunedin Council, I would suggest that Dunedin Council, after the Auckland Council, is the next most contentious. I may be wrong. It certainly probably leads the country in the smaller councils. Why is it so? Who elects these people?
Well, that's a good question, Leighton. I mean, I think they just taken anybody at random now, the way things are going. We've got ideas of extravagance, building bridges over to the harbour, where we need a bridge at the north end of the town, where we've got to stop at a compulsory stop to allow people to come down the main thoroughfare into the city. It's ridiculous. There's been numerous accidents there, but no money for that.
We are, as I have become reasonably fond of saying, governed by fools.
You can say that again, Leighton.
All right. You're a good man, John.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. 27 after 11. How long? Okay. I got this yesterday, but I've just refound it, and I've got to utilise it. Comes from Keith, my libertarian mate from Orange. And when I started reading, I thought, this guy's lost the plot. He needs to be instituted. I'm glad Kiwis are in favour of tackling climate change. That is the perfect attitude to get on with it instead of waiting for governments to fail at doing something. Every Kiwi can reduce their carbon footprint and return to a 1920s style of living at any time they want. They only have to give up modern electricity-using devices, from mobile phones to heaters, and who needs hot water over 37 degrees. Concrete, aluminium and steel are out. They take far too much energy to produce, and every kilowatt of energy used appears as heat. Petrol is the worst, of course, so no private cars, no airline trips. It's easy. I look forward to see how Kiwis tackle this problem themselves on a personal level. Or maybe they asked the wrong questions in that survey. But Keith, I really thought you'd lost the plot at the beginning.
Newstalk ZB Auckland. Time saver traffic.
New homes in Huapai from $600,000. Good morning. Now we're getting reports of a crash in Ellerslie, Great South Road at Rockfield Road, so do watch out for that one if you can update us. 0800 jammed. Southern Motorway Citybound still so Papakura through to Takanini, a moderate patch at Green Lane. No delays on the northern, northwestern or the southwestern. Check out new homes available in Huapai. MikeGreerHomes.co.nz. Time saver traffic.
Spacious, comfortable and hard-wearing, the RAV4 is the ideal vehicle for anyone who enjoys an active life and a bit of adventure. Find your dream RAV4 at Albany Toyota today. Test drive on our country roads and enjoy our quality service. With the well-specified RAV4 GXL starting at only $35,990, it has never been easier to own one today. All new vehicles from Albany Toyota drive away with on-road costs, full tank of fuel, 1-year registration, initial warrant of fitness and genuine floor mats. Albany.co.nz.
Don't let scratch glass be a pain. Phone Novus Glass Scratch Removal on 0800 20 20 95 for a free appraisal and quote. Novus Glass Scratch Removal has experience in polishing scratch glass panes on planes, trains and automobiles, launches and super yachts, houses, hospitals, apartments and balustrades, commercial buildings, offices and shops. Phone Novus Glass Scratch Removal on 0800 20 20 95 for a free appraisal and quote.
Want to slay your next job interview? Yeah, you do. So head to UDo, New Zealand's newest career platform powered by NZME. Knowing what career path to take starts with knowing yourself. With the UDo personality test, you can learn what makes you tick and what sets you apart. So you'll know exactly what value you bring. Take the UDo personality test and search for your next job at udo.co.nz.
When it comes to getting new curtains or blinds, leave it to the experts. Auckland Drape Company and your budget. And this month there's up to 30% off fabrics by James Dunlop, Charles Parsons and Warwick. Some conditions apply. When it comes to windows, it's first and best dressed. Call for your free in-home consultation today and an expert will come to you. Auckland Drape Company, 379 5599.
Newstalk ZB headlines.
With Blue Bubble taxis, it's no trouble with Blue Bubble. The need for Kiwi-built homes is being highlighted by the Real Estate Institute in new figures released today. A call for public hospitals to support senior doctors breastfeeding at work in the same way they support new mums in maternity wards. It could take months for Donald Trump to notice the political fallout of his meeting with Vladimir Putin. The Burmese couple that died fishing off the rocks at Muriwai Beach were metres away from steps where they might have been able to save themselves. 6 or 7 cows have had to be put down after a freight train ploughed through a herd of around 20 cows at Kaipara Flats, north of Auckland. Winter's taking its toll on the housing market with a big dip in Auckland sales. See that story now at nzherald.co.nz. Back to Leighton Smith.
It is 28 to 12. Bob, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Leighton. I would just firstly like to thank you and Mrs. Producer for excellence in providing balance to this strange world we live in. It's most helpful.
What do you mean by balance? I don't come in here intent on providing balance.
No, but you do. I'm not suggesting that's what you do, but that's how it comes across to me.
Oh, you mean balance as opposed to the rest?
Oh, yeah. I don't quite express myself correctly, but...
No, I misunderstood you. It's not your fault.
You're awesome. That's what I'm trying to say. You provide clarity where others would try and steamroll ideas.
Do you think maybe that's because you agree with much of what I might say?
Largely I do.
It's really nice to talk to an intelligent caller.
Well, thank you. Now, the statue. I'm an ex-Aucklander. I live in Tauranga now. Maybe I should play, maybe I shouldn't. My biggest concern is I'm not sure that I understand they're going to put $1 million in for some sort of design and then another horrendous amount of money to construct something. I'm all up for a bit of a statue, to be honest. Having said that, I would hope it will be indicative of all of New Zealand's vast cultures and views and that type of thing. I suspect it won't be. And I've sort of prepared myself for that already. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe this $1 million design fund, dare I say it, is probably going to is already decided where Peace Pocket that'll slide into. I can't prove that, but, Auckland City Council, they're a dastardly lot, and they tend to take care of each other, their friends. And I guess it's good if you're on the team, but we all know it's not really good, is it? It's not fair. But that's just my view, obviously.
Well, your view is very valuable.
Thank you, Leighton, and good luck.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
News talks about 26 to midday. Spitting Phil. This is an email that has just arrived. I asked the question yesterday about how long do you hold on to something that somebody's done and hold them accountable for it? You know what I mean? How long before you say, time's up, time to move on? They've had long enough to get over it. They've done. This is to do with Phil Goff spitting on returned Vietnam troops and throwing paint at them and demonstrating, etc. And I got a couple of responses yesterday, and for some reason I got one from Christopher today. As to how far back a person's sins should be held against them, we are told to forgive and forget. But I keep a list in case a chance for retribution occurs. Payback's a bitch, ain't it? Yeah, well, as one of my fellow broadcasters once said, I never forget. Of himself. I tend to be a bit more generous than that. But there comes a time. Now, I asked the caller earlier about Sweden. Can I ask you whether Sweden is a good model for, in your humble opinion, whether Sweden is a good model for New Zealand, as Ms. Clark, as Prime Minister, said a number of years ago, that Sweden was her ideal setup, society, country. And I think there was even talk about New Zealand becoming the Sweden of the South. Maybe that was an extension of what she said originally. But no, I don't want to pick on her. I'm just using it as an example of why it's a good question. Is Sweden a good model for New Zealand? After all, they have many things going for them that people admire. 0800 80 1080. Well, Mrs. Producer's telling me I've already said that Sweden's a bad model, so what's the point? Well, you have a way of undermining my fun. You do. I'm sorry, what? It was then. Leighton from my mate, the sailor. We already have a statue. It's called the Sky Tower. The ship of fools gets foolisher every day. Ray, you are always, always so wise. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, Leighton. I've just got a little story for you. Once upon a time, there was a mayor of a big city, and his name was Pil Toff, and he was invited to a fancy dress party at which all of the citizens were going to be there in their finery. And his wife and he decided to go, and she got dressed, and she had on a beautiful tiara that she'd got from the $2 shop. And she went down to the car and said, "Come down soon because we've got to get there." And he walked down to the car, and she said, "You can't go like that." And he said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "This is how the people see me." And she said, "But you're almost naked. All you've got is a bit of string around your waist and a spud hanging down in front of you." And he said, "Well, that's fine. That represents me." She said, "What do you mean?" "I'm dictator."
Thank you, Brian. It's 22 to 12, Newstalk ZB.
Hello, I'm Brian Cree, Managing Director of Radius Care. If you have a parent or loved one that may need hospital or rest home care, then now is the perfect time to check out the newly refurbished state-of-the-art facilities at Radius Waipuna. First-class amenities, water views and beautifully landscaped courtyards make Radius Waipuna a home away from home. For more information, Google Radius Care today.
When you need us, you'll be there. When you need us, we're Radius Care.
Have you got scratched glass? Have you been told if you can feel the scratches with your fingernail, they can't be polished? Wrong. If you have scratched glass, give Nova Scratch Removal a call on 0800 20 20 95 for a free appraisal. They could save your glass. Nova Scratch Removal have over 20 years experience polishing glass. Phone 0800 20 20 95. They apply protective film too. Phone 0800 2020 95. Novus Glass Scratch Removal.
Oh, keeping warm in winter. Keeping cool in summer. Whew. Or even just shutting out unwanted noise. Can be as easy as shutting a magnetite window. Whether you're looking at a new build or getting retrofitted, Magnetite will get you the most out of your home. So keep out the cold and the noise from the kids on school holidays this week with Magnetite. For a better home, head to magnetite.co.nz.
Dealing with traders takes a certain kind of nerve. But in our apartment market, there are lots of traders. It's cheap to renovate an apartment, and then it has to be resold. And the dealers love City Sales because we've geared up for them. And we get the results. If you like it fast and can handle the rough and tough, we've got a career for you. Martin Dunn, 3030 601.
CitySales.co.nz.
Licensed real estate agent. Think you know better? Call Leighton on 0800 80 1080. The Leighton Smith Show on Newstalk ZB.
News talks about 19 to midday. Now, Sweden. There are some email. Look, somebody said to me a short while ago that it's a bit of a strange thing today, and I'm beginning to believe it. Some strange things. Jill, good morning.
Good morning, Leighton. Just wanted to ring about Sweden.
I'm very pleased you did. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, read a UN report just recently, came out very recently, that Sweden by 2030 is going to become almost a third world country. Because they have, at the moment, can you imagine anything worse? They have a liberal feminist government. You want to read about the snow clearing that went on in Sweden because it was done in a sexist way because roads were cleared first and most men drove. And most women walked, so they cleared the footpaths first and created chaos. Now, that's serious news.
I didn't hear the second part of that, but I knew the first part.
Oh, okay. Well, it turned their cities into chaos, clearing the footpaths first and not clearing the roads. But Sweden has got such a massive immigrant problem from the Middle East and North Africa that it's now turned into very serious no-go zones. Donald Trump spoke about it, and he was right.
Mm-hmm. He had pushback too, didn't he, when he made those comments?
He did have pushback, but it is absolutely true. They have areas where the police, the ambulance cannot go. They're cancelling their music festivals because women are seriously raped. Then they put themselves in a bad corner because they're going to do women-only music festivals, but then that upset other people. So, no, we don't want to follow Sweden's path. It's a mess. Very wealthy country with a very generous welfare system that is now killing it.
And so by 2030...
Yep, that was a UN report. Came out just very recently because I was shocked. I always thought that Sweden was a pretty well-off, very together country. I've got it up here on the computer.
Well, don't worry about it.
But it was the Human Development Index report. And they're going to rate very, very lowly.
Well,
really worth reading.
I wouldn't be at all surprised. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, carry on the good work.
Thanks, Jill. 17 to 12. See, I could have quoted you from The Relentless Radicalization of Sweden. But it's lengthy, and she's covered that. This is really what I wanted to... This is what I was leading up to. And all I was doing was laying the foundation, giving myself the excuse to do it. American liberals, well, liberals everywhere, as we experienced here, sometimes hold up Sweden as a model of social order, equality of the sexes, and respect for parental responsibilities. Its welfare state offers excellent free or subsidised prenatal care. It's actually fairly extravagant. 480 days of paid leave for both natural and adoptive parents, and additional leave for mums who work in physically strenuous jobs. Swedish parents have the option to reduce their normal hours and pay up to 25% until a child turns 8. But all this assistance comes at a steep cost. At 61.85%, Sweden has the highest personal income tax rate in the world. Shall we round it up and say 62%? That money pays for the kind of support many American women would welcome, and New Zealand women for that matter, but comes with pressure on women. This is where it gets contentious. It's written by a woman, by the way. But comes with pressures on women to return to the workforce on the government schedule, not their own. The Swedish government also supports and subsidises institutionalised daycare, they call it preschool, promoting the belief that professional caregivers are better for children than their own mothers. If a mother decides that she wants to stay home with a child beyond the state-sanctioned maternity leave, she receives no additional allowance. That creates an extreme financial... There was a situation in the States last week, just a few days ago, where there was Trump support. I can't... It doesn't matter where it was, but there was a gathering, and there was Trump support, or support for Trump, or something something specifically that he had been promoting. Whatever it was, there were supporters there. And there was a group of people who tried to join them. And they were white supremacists. And they got chased out by the Trump supporters. They did not want to know them. They did not want them there. They forced them out. Now, they forced them out. They didn't get physical, as far as I could tell, but they forced them away. They told them where to go in no uncertain terms. And I thought that was relevant to this particular discussion about where people are on the political spectrum. They were what I would call far right, the white supremacists. Trump is not a racist. Anybody who thinks that is politely ill-informed. John, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Now, listen, I've been listening to your program for the last couple of days, and I find it very interesting and stimulating, and I believe you are on the same track as me about what's happening in the world today. It's total takeover of people's rights and people's freedom of speech. And I can see this is going to go further, and let's stop right now, because I come from the UK, actually, and they're having massive problems there at the moment.
No kidding.
Yes, and 2 hours ago, 2 more members resigned. Now, what's happening over there is a complete mystery to the average person, because he hasn't got the mentality or the understanding to know what's going on around him, if you understand.
Well, that's a bit demeaning of your fellow citizens.
No, it's not. It's not actually. It's not demeaning. You see, in the UK has been living in the last 2 centuries. It's never really caught up what's happening. It's never even brought up to world standard. It's a total feudal and class-controlled society. And the government, the last couple of governments in there, have not been working in the interest of the people of the UK, any part of it. I believe they're agents of the New World Order. And you mentioned a man last week, which I've been investigating for years, Henry Kissinger. And I can tell you, Henry Kissinger, I would say he's smarter than Albert Einstein. So that's what I've got to say about it. And I can
what does that mean?
Well, Henry Kissinger has never been a politician. He's only been an advisor to governments, a political analyst. And he comes out straight with it, what's happening. He's told once New World Order and his comrades in the world today, and it's total, it's Novus Order Seclorum. That's total chaos.
Well, I thought hang on, are you saying that that's what he's promoting?
Oh, yeah, he always has. Oh, yes.
I thought you said he was smarter than Einstein.
Yes, he is a very intelligent man. He's
well, there's no denying that.
Yes.
But then to say that he's smarter than Einstein, and then to say that he's pursuing this other direction,
yes,
seems to be conflicting.
Well, it probably is. But I'm just trying to point out, Henry Kissinger He arrived from Germany just after the Holocaust, and he gets into the States before, you know, he's Secretary of State. Now, he must be very intelligent to get to that status, really.
Well, they said that Obama was very intelligent.
And yes, but Obama was put in there for political reasons, and Henry Kissinger was the promoter of Obama. People don't know that. He pushed Obama all the way. So with this suppression of speech and this Gough chappie that runs the Auckland City Council, he treats his councillors shamefully, you know.
How long have you been here, John?
How long have I been in New Zealand?
Yes.
50 years, but I've been outside before at different times. I've spent some time in the States, in the southern states, and back in the UK and Europe.
What have you done for a living?
I'm an engineer.
What sort?
Oh, I was on oil rigs and that sort of stuff.
Already?
Yes.
What's the future of oil?
Well, the future of oil is in the control of the Big Seven, the people who run it, and these are the people who control the world's energy of today, as you know.
Well, what's the playoff? How is the playoff between electric vehicles and fossil fueled vehicles?
Yes.
How's that going to work out?
Well, what's happening at the moment? Oil is in, but I would say within the next 20 years, electric vehicles will take over. So these companies know they'll hang out as long as possible to extract as much oil, there's no scarcity of oil in the Middle East, no scarcity whatsoever. Iraq floats in the sea of oil. People don't know that. And in some parts of Iraq, you can't even light a fire in the desert because the ground goes on fire. And it's just international politics, and there's nothing we can do about it. Just be aware of what's happening.
Well, that's where you and I certainly agree that while there's nothing we can personally do about it, being aware of things is, to me anyway, and obviously to you, and to probably most of the people listening to this program, is very important. Being aware. I'm with you on that. Thanks for the call, John. 8 to 12, Newstalk ZB.
That car in the driveway. That diamond on her hand. Those house repairs. There's lots of things that compete for funds when you're planning your dream holiday. Not with Yes Finance, who could take over your current loans, plus give you a bit of breathing room to turn that dream holiday into a holiday. Go to yesfinance.co.nz and start the journey.
Lending criteria, terms, fees and conditions apply.
Yes! Most men won't admit they can't keep up. They'd like to, the urge is still there, but energy levels just aren't what they used to be, especially in the bedroom. If only there was a 100% natural supplement that could help you keep up. There is. Herbal Ignite for Men has been proven to support increased energy levels and rekindle relationships for over 20 years. Read the label and take as directed. Herbal Ignite for Men by Intensa Auckland is available online or call 0800 44 66 39 now. That's 0800 44 66 39.
Let House of Travel take you to the island of Tasmania. From stunning vistas of the eastern beaches to remote wild landscapes in the west, this bucket list destination will leave you spellbound. Feel exhilarated on the cliff tops of the Three Capes walking track. Indulge in seasonal paddock-to-plate dining and drop into a Salador. Our experiences start from $1,099 per person sheer twin from Auckland, including flights, accommodation and car hire. Conditions apply. Now's the time to explore the island of Tasmania with House of Travel. The best holidays are created together.
Anne-Marie here from Gilbert's Cartage. When moving, there are many questions, like how long will it take to pack my home? Just ask us.
Move house with Gilbert's Cottage. Phone 0800 60 30 20.
Explore the world with Travel Magazine. We're exploring Australia's exotic far north with the Indigenous people. Plus, we taste Air New Zealand's controversial vegetarian burger.
Travel Magazine, out today with the Herald.
You're invited to join us for an information presentation at Ryman's stunning new village, Logan Campbell Retirement Village in Green Lane. Find out more about our rest home, hospital and dementia care, plus assisted living in a serviced apartment. Join us tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the Village Centre, 187 Campbell Road, Green Lane. To find out more, please phone Karen on 6363 888.
Newstalk to be at 6 to midday. I've had a lot of people writing about the technical issues that have existed, and I will apologise on behalf of I just apologise that it's been crap for a while. The techs are working overtime to rectify it. The only thing I'd leave you with, as far as that's concerned, is try working this end with it. Because I've had all sorts of stuff going on. In conclusion, I've got about 3 minutes. Let me see how much of this I can get in. The Australian Federation of Islamic Councils has warned that religious freedom is being weakened in Australian society as it escalates calls for the introduction of a Bill of Rights to protect people of faith. The Federation president said freedom of religion was a basic human right, but argued it should never be absolute or unfettered after the Social Services Minister called for the introduction of a new Religious Discrimination Act. Dr. Janeed, who is the president of the Federation, said he could not endorse Mr. Tehan's proposal without knowing the details of how the proposed act would work, but acknowledged there was, in principle, support for a new legislative protection for religious freedom. The minister, Social Service Minister, push for a Religious Discrimination Act comes ahead of a release of a key review into the religious freedoms led by the former. Well, all these names make it difficult. We believe that the right of all people of faith to practice their religion has been steadily eroded over recent times, and freedom of religion has taken second place to many other rights, the Federation president said. Asked about his expectations of the Ruddock Review, he said he wanted the Turnbull government to legislate to give effect to Australia's obligations under the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. Now, I'm going to leave it there from a time factor point of view, but a Bill of Rights needs to be treated very warily, whatever it is, because a Bill of Rights depends entirely on who's putting it together and what their goal is. A Bill of your rights and my rights might be completely different. And how it's structured depends on how it will be administered. And when a person of some religion, whatever it is the one promoting it, I'd get out the magnifying glass, and it would be a very, very big one. We shall return in the morning at 8:37. Till then, you have a great day and take care.
Thank you. Uno Vent. Pay less for the best.
Uno Vent, the low-cost, low-maintenance home ventilation system. With no ducting or complicated machinery, it's cheap to install, has a tiny running cost, and comes with a lifetime warranty. You can now buy Uno Vent with 18 months, no repayments, and no interest. T's and C's apply. Visit unovent.co.nz to find out how.
Pay less for the best.
Or call 0800 2 Uno Vent.
Why is living at Mayfair Retirement Village so appealing? We asked some of our residents.
This place had the buzz that I wanted.
I think the thing about Mayfair is that it's really like a little suburb. It's just got a very pleasant feeling. It's to me, it's a village. No, it's a little community.
Retirement your way at Mayfair. Come to their open day this Friday, 10 till 1. Mayfair Retirement Village, Otaha Valley Road, North Cross. Or view online, arenaliving.nz.
Looking for investment returns of 6.25 to 8%? Here's Luke Jackson, CEO of Southern Cross Partners Loans and Investments.
We pride ourselves on being very transparent. The process is transparent. A lot of our investors appreciate the way that they get to choose what investment they are involved in. It's not going into a pool. It's not getting spread over loans that they don't know or understand. It's loan positions that they get to read about, that they get to understand, and they get to choose.
The investment choice is in your hands. Google Southern Cross Partners. Rate subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
Dave,
ship's moving.
We're off.
Just you and me. Look, Amber, there's the elephant.
What's he doing, Mummy?
Playing with the tyre.
That's funny.
Ah, this is our dance.
Oh, you're such a romantic.
Be there for the moments. LighthouseSupplements.co.nz.
You like listening to things, right? You're doing it right now. Then we want you to join the podcast movement. iHeartRadio. Get into a good story, a crack-up comedy, or an intellectual adventure as you commute. For free. Imagine catching up on world news as you do your grocery shopping. Discover why podcasts are taking the world by storm. Join the podcast movement. Download the iHeartRadio app. Never miss a beat.
iHeartRadio. In Auckland on 89.4, this is Newstalk ZB. Hosking, Devlin, Hawkesby, Lush.